Woohoo! Super Saturday, we are on. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKRsport. I just realised that my audio is not connected to my headset. Hopefully my microphone is working. Let me just make sure. We are all good to go. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKRsport, we are live as the Canterbury Bulldogs will be taking on the Newcastle Knights here in a Super Saturday with 3 games on offer. After this, we obviously have the Penrith Panthers taking on the Parramatta Eels, and then later on tonight, the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Melbourne Storm. Now, you will have to forgive me today because I am actually quite sick right now, but I'm doing my best. You know, we're consistent. I'm going to get you every single game of the rugby league season, and I'm still cracking on despite the fact that I'm pretty unwell at the moment, but we are going to do our best and absolutely fire through it. And hopefully this game is good. It doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be an amazing game because the Bulldogs realistically should be walking through the line here. They should be able to get the job done with their team lineup, but they also haven't exactly been outstanding so far this season. Defensively, they have been. Defensively, they're still not really giving up many points at all. But when it comes to their attack, that is still the main concern here when it comes to the Bulldogs. In their first game, I just went to the Broncos-Dolphins game. Oh, okay, yep, I'm clicking everywhere now. Clicking everywhere except for where I want to be. In their first game against the Dragons, they scored 15 points. That's fine. But with that being said, there was very noticeable negative attack in that game from the Canterbury Bulldogs, which is a continuation of what we've seen over the last couple of years. They did still win that game, though, controversially, 15-14, before they had the bye, and then they went down to Canberra in pouring down wet conditions, and it was 14-10 to the Canterbury Bulldogs there. Again, noticeable attack, but you do kind of give a little bit of leeway due to conditions of the game. It was absolutely torrential. The Raiders were desperate for a win. The Raiders couldn't get a win, but you can give them a little bit of leeway for that game. But the reason why you kind of go away from that leeway too is because regardless whether it's wet or dry, the Bulldogs have shown the same lackluster attack so far. So whilst I do think that, and someone asked me yesterday, who do you have right now in the grand final? First off, without even thinking, I say the Penrith Panthers because they're clearly the best team so far this season, and we've seen it over many years. Even last year when they had a tumultuous first half of the year, they still made a prelim and were 5 minutes away from making the grand final again for a 6th consecutive year. So I've seen that with the Panthers, and I say, okay, easy, right this for a second, Panthers. The other team, I would still potentially lean with the Canterbury Bulldogs right now. I do think they're a really good team. So whilst I criticise them, and I say that you're not going to win the comp unless you fix this attack, I still believe that you can still actually win the comp, but I don't think that, because the Panthers' defense is incredible, and the Bulldogs' defense is incredible, but the Panthers' attack is also incredible. They haven't even been flowing just yet, and they're still getting 26, 30-plus points a game, right? So the Panthers' attack is far superior to what we see from the Bulldogs. So they equal each other out defensively, but attacking-wise, I think a team like the Panthers will get over the top of them. And that's why I keep saying I don't believe the Dogs can win the premiership until they sort out this attack. And this is the kind of game where you need to be using that attack and blowing them apart. I think you won in the preseason of the Newcastle Knights 30-0. Well, let's see that again. That was the preseason. But at the end of the day, based off of rosters here, you would fancy yourselves to get a pretty sizable win, especially with the fact that they are without Dylan Brown and also without Kalen Ponga. So this, and Justin Holbrook is an attacking-minded coach rather than defensive-minded coach. The Warriors put a score past him last week, and whilst the Knights have shown a lot more positivity so far this season in those first 2 rounds, at the end of the day, if you believe that you are going to be a premiership contending team this year, Bulldogs, you have to be scoring over 20 points here. You just have to be. And 20 points is quite low considering where I think the Bulldogs should be at this stage. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking for them to get 20 points. That's all I'm really looking for today. They need to win, but I am looking for them to win and to score 20-plus points. That's what I'm looking from them. The Knights, I just need to keep seeing improvement. Obviously, they came last year, and we want to see them have a better year. They got off to a good start. Well, they got quite lucky in regards to their draw. We'll be honest with you there. At the end of the day, they've played a couple of easier teams, barring the Warriors, but then the Warriors showed their inconsistency again last night, which was a very typical Warriors loss there against the West Tigers. But the Knights did beat the Cowboys 28-18. Cowboys don't look great this year, and they beat Manly 36-16. Manly look absolutely awful, and they just sacked their coach. That's how bad they've been. So the Newcastle Knights have shown that positivity in the sense that I know that they're easier matchups, but they've still gotten the win, and they wouldn't have necessarily gotten that win in recent years, especially not last year. And then last week, obviously, lost to the Warriors 38-12, and the Warriors did look good. And there was an elephant in the room last night with a player coming back in that I'm not solely blaming the loss on him. At the end of the day, the Warriors just didn't look good enough, and it was a very typical Warriors loss. But, they have brought somebody back in who isn't necessarily known for an undeniable amount of attack when they look at the Warriors from last season. So, look, the Knights loss against the Warriors made sense last week, and overall it does make sense, but I think this has been a really positive start to the year, despite the fact that it hasn't exactly been your Bulldogs or your Storm or your Panthers kind of deal, and they don't actually have that tough of a run, really. They really don't have that tough of a run until after round 7, where they take on the Roosters, the Panthers, and the Rabbitohs, and they get a bit of an easier run against the Dragons, the Titans, and the Eels, and then they go back up against the Storm. So, this Knights team has every opportunity in these first 7 rounds or so to make a bit of a push. But again, I don't have them anywhere close to top 8 this year. I don't think this is the year. It's the first year under Justin Holbrook, and we've just got to hope that they can have that progression. They're at the very beginning stages of their rebuild, and hopefully they can do well enough to at least be proud of their performances this year compared to what we saw last year. But let's get into the 2 team lineups here for this game. Actually, first off, like I said, don't forget, there is 3 games here today. Obviously, we'll be live for all of them. Despite the fact that I am sick, I will be live for all 3 of these games. So Bulldogs versus Knights, then we've got Panthers versus Eels right after this, and the Cowboys versus Storm. And then tomorrow, we have a pretty good day, actually. So Raiders Sharks should be a belter because they're both desperate for a win. And then you've got, obviously, my passion coming from the Gold Coast Titans, where the Titans take on the Dragons in the Spoon Bowl in round 4. A couple of Spoon Bowls in a row there. It's starting to look like, there's one team keep getting called the Spoon Bowl, and that is a problem right now. And that is my team. But then again, if they do lose on Sunday, they will go to the top of this ladder, right here on this screen. They'll go right there to the top of the ladder. And unfortunately, Panthers, that'll mean you'll be knocked out of the top 8, which is unfortunate for you, but it is what it is, mate. It is what it is. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. The Gold Coast Titans will go undefeated from this point onwards. But all right, guys, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get into the 2 team lineup. So the Canterbury Bulldogs, they come to this game from 4th position. Are they in 4th right now? No, they're in 5th right now because the Rabbitohs bye. They were 4th before the round. And the Newcastle Knights, they were in 8th, and they are still in 8th. So nothing has changed there. This is at Core Stadium in Sydney. Now, the ins here for the Dogs are Fletcher Baker, Jonathan Sewer, and Lipoi Hopoi, with the outs being Harry Hayes, Jake Turpin, and Samuel Hughes. The fullback is Connor Tracy, with the wingers being Jacob Kiraz, Marcelo Montoya, centres of Inari Tuala, and Stephen Crichton, who is the captain. 5'8", Matty Burton, with the halfback being Lachlan Galvin, and then the front row forwards are Max King and Lipoi Hopoi, who comes in off the bench into the starting front row, and the number 9 is Bailey Hayward. The back row, Vili Bombili, Viliami Kikau, and Jacob Preston, with a 13 being Jamin Salmon. You go to the interchange, and that is Sitili Tupanua, Kurt Mann, Josh Curran, Sean O'Sullivan, Jonathan Sewer, Fletcher Baker, and Cameron Serraldo is the coach. I actually don't, in my Supercoach draft team, I actually don't have any Bulldogs players in my team. I guess that is a sign of how I think of their attack. I would really like to see their attack get flowing, because this Dogs team, they do just know how to grind out results, and they do know how to get their wins, but they can be quite up and down. But their defense is usually just undeniably strong. They were the best defensive team in the comp last year. They have been good defensively this year. Again, they've only given up 25 points across the 2 games. Yes, one was in Vegas. Yes, one was pouring down conditions down there in Canberra. So they actually haven't been home yet. This is their first home game. And people, every time the Bulldogs play the Knights at a core, they remember that 66-0 flogging from a couple of years ago. But that was a long time between drinks. Now, the point about it is that this Dogs team has only given up 25 points across the 2 games. So that is, on average, 12.5 points per game, just between 12 and 13, which is really, really solid. There are certain teams in this competition who have been averaging over 30, and they're at 12.5. So that is really, really positive there for the Dogs, but we know that. We understand that. It's been an understanding for a while now that the Dogs won't give up many points, so you're going to have to beat them by obviously breaking through their defense, because you're not really too worried about them going and scoring 30. You kind of just need to beat this Dogs team. A lot of the time, you do just need about 20 points. And that's why I keep saying, I want to see the Dogs score 20. I said this against the Raiders, and they didn't, but they still won. But if the Raiders had got 20, they obviously would have won. If the Dragons had got 20, they obviously would have won. And that's the thing, that I just need to see the Dogs get to that 20, so that I'm not expecting, if a team can score 20, they probably go on to beat the Bulldogs at this current stage. Because we don't see them kick on 5th much. We don't see them have too much of a plan in regards to the attack. But the Knights, defensively, just aren't fantastic. They've still been giving up a few points this year, even to those lowly ranked teams. So this might be a bit of a wake-up call here for Newcastle, and for us to to see that they're not quite ready for the big time just yet, which is obvious, but this could be one of those big time wake up calls. However, we did see the Tigers get a big win against the Warriors when no one expected it yesterday. So yeah, look, this Dogs team is good. I still feel like Galvin should be 6. I would like to see Mitchell Woods come into that 7 at some point, and I still don't believe Matty Burton is a 6, but I think that he's a great player. I just don't think that he's going to win a premiership playing the 6, in my personal opinion, because I think the 6 and the 7 clearly don't work right now in regards to their attack, and you don't have a pure 7. Mitchell Woods is a pure 7, but he's very young and very inexperienced. It's not like the Bulldogs are unknown for... or scared about making changes. Last year they were looking really, really good with Toby Sexton and Reid Marnie in the 7 and 9, and then next minute they ship them off and bring in Galvin, and Galvin comes in immediately and didn't look great from there. I'm not saying Galvin's a bad player. I think that Galvin can develop into a good player, and he's still very, very young. But with that being said, it is what we've seen, where it just hasn't really worked out here for the Bulldogs on the attack. So I do feel like incoming should be some changes into the halves, because that is where you look at for your attack. Your 1 through 5 getting tries realistically rely upon your halves, and you know the 9 is a bit of a problem here at the Bulldogs too, with Bailey Hayward, where I just don't really know what his specialty is. I don't know what Bailey Hayward's specialty is. If you can let me know in the chat as a Dogs fan, is he more of an attacking hooker or is he more of a defensive hooker? I wouldn't necessarily say that I wouldn't know. I haven't really been able to pinpoint what his actual specialty is as a hooker. Like, for example, Sam Verrills at the Titans, right? Not fantastic at the moment, but his specialty would be his defense, because he does make 40 to 50 tackles a game. He used to be more balanced at the Roosters, where he was an attack and a defensive hooker, but nowadays he is more so just that defensive hooker. And who's another one? Reid Marnie, his specialty is just being a grub, really. it's being a grub, but that is a specialty. You know, you can try and get under the opposition, under their noses, and just give them a bit of a slap up kind of deal. That's kind of Reid Marnie's specialty. When you go across hookers, you need to see, they need to have something that stands out. Obviously, balance is the best thing, but look at the Panthers. Mitch Kenny, his specialty is his defensive line and his defense. He is not an attacking hooker. Mitch Kenny is not an attacking hooker and does not need to be an attacking hooker, because they've got Nathan Cleary, they've got Blaise Salongi, they've got all these players across the park that can attack. So he doesn't need to do that. His specialty is defense, and that's why I'm asking this question. In regards to Bailey Hayward, can a Dogs fan tell me what his specific specialty is in this number 9? Because I'm still wondering what it is. The forwards, obviously, we're still waiting to see Leo Thompson come across here. He's obviously from the Knights, not playing here today, but he's not back, I think, until about round 10 or so. But that'll be a massive inclusion here with the Bulldogs in regards to their forward pack, because whilst the back rowers are incredible, and Jacob Preston and Viliami Kikau, outside of that, I do have those concerns. Lipoi Hapoi, Max King, and Champion Salmon. Max King is solid, but I don't think that he is leadership, number 1 front rower in the game kind of deal. I don't think that he is the leader here. He is the leader now, but I don't think he should be. I think he's a great second in charge, like a Moses Leota, James Fisher-Harris. I've said this for weeks and weeks, for years and years. I don't actually think that he is the pure leading front rower, but I think that he is a great second man in charge, and that's why I think Leo Thompson needs to come in and be that leadership front rower to get them over the line, but obviously he's not back yet. So look, overall, that's my review of the Dogs. I do think they're a really good team, and I could still see them in a grand final. I just need to see their attack go and get ready to rock and roll. I know it's only 4 weeks in, but I do have the Panthers beating you, because they have got a similar defense, but their attack is just superbly better, and it will get better throughout the season, because it has been struggling and they've still been getting 26 to 30 plus points. So that's what I need to see from the Dogs. My biggest thing, see 20 points today. It's the Newcastle Knights. You should be getting 20 points today. Now, the Newcastle Knights on the other side, Fletcher Sharp is in alongside Wilson de Courcy, so that's a big in there of Fletcher, and the outs are Francis Malalua and Trey Mooney. The fullback is Fletcher Hunt, with the wingers being Dominic Young and Greg Matthew. Centers of Dane Gagai and Brabham Best. The 5'8" is Fletcher Sharp, with the halfback being Sandon Smith, and then the front row forwards are Jacob Saifidi and Basami Saulo, who comes in off the bench, and Phoenix Crossland will be the 9. Back row is Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen, with the 13 being Matt Croker. And then the interchange, Tyson Frizzell drops to the bench, Thomas Kant, Cody Hotwood, Tyson Gamble, Harrison Graham, and Wilson de Courcy, with the coach being Justin Holbrook. Like I said, the Knights have had a positive start of the season. They aren't expected to beat the big-time teams this year, but they did obviously beat the lower-ranked teams so far this season in those Cowboys and also the Manly Sea Eagles. So they will take that absolutely. They're already on 4 points, and they're in the top 8. But again, the top 8 isn't really something to give a shit too much about when you're here in round round 4, but it was they've obviously only played 3 rounds there. I think that no matter what happens here for this season for the Knights, as long as they're not getting the spoon, as long as they put themselves out of the bottom 4, I do think it's a success. I think if you ever come last place, it is a success if you can get out of that bottom 4. It's not great to come 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. It's not great to come 13th, right? It's still a very icky position, but it's still better than 4 teams. And when you come last, dead last across all 17 teams, next year there'll be 18. When you come dead last, just going above those 4 teams is actually a success in my opinion. So I am just looking for the Knights to finish in between that 13, 12, 11 area, and I still think 11 might be a little bit too high, but they have shown some positives, and they have shown some improvements, so that is a good thing to see as we currently speak, and I do think that I've seen more out of them. Last week was tough because they lost their players. They still don't really have those guys back now, but when they did have their full-strength team, they were looking a lot better, is what I would say. Defensively, it's still going to be an issue so far this season. It really will be. They didn't give up an amazing amount of points in those first couple of rounds, but they still, despite getting the win, I'm going to quickly go back here to the Knights at the beginning. So the first round, they still got 18 points to the Cowboys, and they gave 16 points to Manly, who are an absolute schmozzle right now, and didn't even care in that game. If you watched that game, you saw that the energy factor and the care factor from that Manly team was diabolical. And that's why I say it was an easier 2 rounds for the Knights. And then in that Warriors game, they obviously got 38 points, but the Warriors were flying on attack across the first 3 rounds. So they are still giving up a decent amount of points. Across 3 games, if you want to just use the first 2 games, 34 points, that's still 18 points per game, which is not... 17 points per game, whatever. Which is still not pretty, but it's sufficeable. Across that, if you include the Warriors game of 38, then that's 48, 58, 64, 70. So across 3 games, it'd be 20, 40, 60. So it is over 20 points per game across 3 games. And they were close enough to 20 in the first 2. So it's not like a massive outlier there. What is that, like 23 and a half? 23 and a half points, basically 24 points, 23, 24 points per game so far this year for the Knights, which isn't pretty, right? It's not as bad as it has been, but it isn't necessarily pretty. But again, they come in against a Dogs team here who can't attack. So if they are feeling positive and they do think that maybe the Knights are on a good upwards trajectory, well, you got to keep the Dogs under 20. We go to the same purpose, same point. If you think that if your defense is going to be able to fire up here, well, keep the Dogs under 20, because realistically, if you think you're an upward trajectory, you should be keeping the Dogs under 20. Their attack is not fantastic. It's as simple as that. But I will take the Bulldogs here today. I will say the Bulldogs win, and realistically, they should win this game 13+. But then again, other teams this weekend should have won 13+, and they lost 13+. So you never know. Rugby league, the more you know, the less you know. If you are perfect on your tips so far, well done to you, because that is absolutely spectacular. If you're perfect across all 4 rounds, I think you should receive a knighthood from the King of England. I really think you should receive a knighthood from the King of England if you are perfect from your tips. Even if you've only got like 1 or 2 wrong in the first 4 rounds. Honestly, you're a legend of the game, mate. You're a legend of the game. But I will always say, the more you know, the less you know, because you overanalyze, you overthink it, and you really look at things that probably shouldn't be looked at because they tend to be what you should look at, but that ends up being the complete opposite. So, that's why I always say, with tips, I may not be fantastic. We watch every game here, and I think I have an idea about what's happening, but I don't have an idea about who's going to win. I just don't. At this point, I've give up. You give up, son. You just give up at some point. But so I'm taking the Doggies by 13+. I would love to see the Knights put up a game, though. In regards to the first 7 rounds for the Canterbury Bulldogs, there is about 12 minutes to go until game starts here, guys. So hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The Bulldogs obviously won against the Dragons, had a bye, and then beat the Raiders. They're 2-0 right now, but through the first 7 games, they can only have 6 games because of that bye. So by the end of, if you want to be 1, 2, 3 kind of deal, by the end of the year, realistically, you play the Knights here today, you should be expecting a win there. You play the Rabbitohs next week. I do think that you should be expecting a win there too, despite the fact the Rabbitohs are going to be a tougher team. Then you play the Panthers in a belter, and then you play your rivals against Parramatta at CommBank. So considering you're already 2-0, I do think that anything less than 4-2 will be a failure in the context of the Dogs to start off with, because you have played Dragons team that is not expected to be great. Raiders who were iffy, but at the end of the day, the Raiders did come first last year and won premiership, but are only 1-2 right now. And then you have a Knights team that you should be expected to beat, and an Eels team you should realistically be expected to beat, but it is a rivalry game there. I think you can't go less than 4-2. I really don't. You can't go less than 4-2. Not against the Knights, Rabbitohs, Panthers, and Eels. Obviously, give credit to the Panthers there. So you can take one loss, and then you can only have one loss realistically out of Knights, Rabbitohs, and Eels. But I think there's a genuine world where you could be 5-1, which would be really positive, especially with the bye. 5-1 plus the bye. You probably would be in first by the end of that then, if that was the case. Oh, no, because the Panthers would, if they were the ones to get that win there. If you get a win over the Panthers, there is a genuine chance you could be 6-0. And then people will really start to look at you. If you can beat that Panthers team in round 6, that is the big one that you're obviously looking for. So I think that in the first 7 rounds, you need to be at minimum 4-2. A very positive would be 5-1. But if you can snap up that Panthers game and get that, it will be an upset. But if you can snap up that Panthers game, there is a genuine world where you could be 6-0 if you are good enough. If you are good enough, son. Now, the Knights, on the other hand, they've obviously played the Cowboys and Manly and the Warriors, and they are 2-1 right now. They are pretty happy with that, considering that up to 7 rounds, they would only, before the season started, they would have been happy with probably getting 3 wins from their first 7 with a couple of these matchups here, to be fair. They weren't, I don't think they were expecting to win against the Warriors. Manly were always doable, and so were the Cowboys. But today they've got the Bulldogs, who they would be expected to lose to, the Raiders next week, who you'd probably expect to lose to, the Tigers, who looked good yesterday, and away at Campbelltown, and then the Roosters. So that's actually a pretty tough next 4 games here. That is a pretty spicy. And then you play the Panthers and Rabbitohs. You don't play an easier team again until the Dragons in round 10. You're in for a pretty tough stretch right now. Bulldogs, Raiders, Tigers, Roosters by round 7, and then Panthers and Rabbitohs in round 8 and 9. Wowee. So after 7 rounds, to claim it as a positive, I do think that, honestly, I would say that I would say 3 and 4 is actually quite positive considering what we thought pre-season, which I hate saying because I don't want to say a losing record is a positive, but I do think that a 3 and 4 record could actually be quite a positive for you considering what we expected. But if you want me to give you a 4 and 3, well then you would need to win 2 out of the 2 games out of Bulldogs, Raiders, Tigers, and Roosters. Who do you see the Knights beating out of those, especially with their injuries right now? I really don't know. I guess based off of, I guess your probably your biggest targets right now would be your Raiders and your Tigers, but then again the Roosters haven't been fantastic. I don't think today is. If you get a win today, that's unbelievable. That would be actually unbelievable. I really think that with that next 4 games, you at minimum just need to pick up a 1 win. Because again, you're not making the top 8 this year. If you make the top 8, it's unbelievable. I take my hat off to you. But I don't think you make the top 8. So I would say 3 and 4. You just need 1 win out of these next 4 because they are tough. But if you can get 2, I really will think that this has been an amazing start under Justin Holbrook, and you should be superbly happy with it. So I don't know who you think you'll get your 2 wins against there, but good luck. So then we go to the ladder here quickly in regards to halfway through round 4. That is just there to tell you that this means jack shit right now. But the Knights are in 8th position on 4 points. They're equal with the Melbourne Storm, who play the Cowboys later, the Dolphins, who beat the Broncos last night, the Eels, who play against the Panthers after this, and the Roosters, who have already played their game and beat Manly. They have to bye next week. But if the Knights were to win this game, they would immediately go above the Dolphins in 7th. They would go above the Storm for now into 6th. Now, points differential of the Knights is +4, Eels -30, Roosters -35, Dolphins +22, and the Storm +70. So, yeah, for the time being, you're going to 7th above the Dolphins. That's for the round. Then you would go above the Storm for now, but if the Storm got to win by 1 against the Cowboys, then they would be going straight back above you. But 6 is a potential for the Storm lose. Then you'd be equal with the Bulldogs, the Rabbitohs, the Tigers, the Warriors, and the Panthers there on 6 points. But again, the Panthers do get to play later on. You would actually go above the Bulldogs for now too, because they're on a +5. So you'd go into 5th position there. You would also go above the Rabbitohs into 4th position, because the Rabbitohs are only on +6. You just need to win by 2 points or more. You would have to win by about 42 points or more to go above the Tigers, though, which just simply isn't happening. So there is actually a realistic world, if you were to win this game, which I don't believe, but if you were to win this game, there's a realistic world that you finish in 4th, but probably in 5th due to the fact that Storm more than likely do beat the Cowboys there. So that's massive for you, though. That would be absolutely massive. If you lose this game, however, it might not be as pretty. So your points differential is a lot better than a lot of other teams below you, but you're on +4. The Eels are on 4. They're -30. You would have to lose by about 34 points to go below them now before that Panthers game, but then the Panthers could run through them, so we'll see how that pans out. But you could technically drop off into 9th if the Bulldogs get a big win and the Eels either win or have a close loss there. The Roosters, you would have to lose by 39 points or more to go below them. The Sharkies, they're on -8, but they're on 2 points. If they were to win against the Raiders tomorrow, there's a good chance they could go above you. The Cowboys would have to win by a lot against the Storm. I just don't see that happening. The Broncos have replayed, and Raiders, they're -37. That probably won't be changing up there. So, honestly, you probably only drop to about 9th or 10th if you do lose this game. So you could finish in 4th, but you probably only drop to 9th or 10th, so you'd be pretty happy about that. And then on the other side, you have the Canterbury Bulldogs, who are in 5th position on 6 points, equal with the Rabbitohs, Tigers, Warriors, and Panthers. If they win this game, they actually will go into 1st position for the time being. Obviously, the Panthers play later on today, right after this, against Parramatta, so they'll probably jump back above them. But the Bulldogs, with a win, would be in 1st, and then if the Panthers lose, you would finish in 1st this weekend. But if the Panthers win, then you would finish in 2nd this weekend. So you'd either be 1st or 2nd with a win, regardless of what you win by. You would have, if you wanted to stay over the Panthers regardless, you'd need to win by 80 points, and they would have to win by only 2 points. So good luck with that one. So realistically, 2nd place is what you'd be finishing in this week. But if you lose this game, again, you would go below the Knights immediately into 6th position. The Storm, if they were to beat the Cowboys, you would also move into 7th position. And depending on how much you lose by, if the Eels could beat the Panthers, then there is a chance that you actually go down there into 8th as well. And that's about it. That is actually it. So the lowest you go is 8th. You probably you do just straight up finish in 7th with a loss. So you either finish in 1st/2nd, or 7th. Whilst the Knights, they either finish in 4th/5th or 9th/10th. But that is the preview here for today. Obviously, hit that like button and subscribe. Like I said, please forgive, I am a little bit sick here today, so I'm doing my best. But let's fire up, hopefully, for Big Day Rugby League. Next game, I'm actually really excited for. I'm really excited for that next game between the Penny Panthers and the Parramatta Squeals. I'm looking forward to that one. And hopefully it does deliver. Brighton with a $10 donation. Get around your Brightons. It's hard not to tip the big 3 today. Dogs, Penrith and Storm. If there's going to be an upset today, which is most likely? I think most likely out of the 3, I'd probably lean with, firstly, thank you for the $10 dono. I think the most likely of the 3 would be probably Parramatta. Not because I think that they're a better team, but because Parramatta have gotten some sneaky results against them in recent years. I really don't see the Cowboys beating the Storm, but sure. And I just don't see the Knights beating the Bulldogs, but sure. I feel like you'd have to go on the rivalry tone and say that maybe because Parramatta and Penrith, they hate each other, it's a battle of the West kind of deal. You know, I guess I would have to lean with that regards, but it's not something that I would back in. I would be tipping all 3 today of the Bulldogs, the Panthers, and the Storm. But to answer your question, hypothetically speaking, probably the best chance there is probably Parramatta on that basis. Marcus says, I saw a bloke wearing a Hello Sport Titans 13 Plus shirt. It was a Cooper bloke with a big mullet from New South Wales. Said he knows you and misses you. Cooper, do you mean Jesse? I know Jesse has a Titans 13 Plus shirt. Jesse. Are you thinking, is it Jesse? I'm not too sure. Either way, what a bloke. What a man. What a beautiful man. Wearing a Titans 13 Plus shirt. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Scotty James with the $15 donation says, wheel spin. Appreciate you, Scotty. So we're actually doing that tomorrow. I'll include these donos from today for tomorrow. I am quite sick here today, man. So I'm going to be doing the wheel spins and stuff tomorrow on the streams between, what's it called? Who's the games tomorrow? Raiders, Sharkies, and Titans versus the Dragons. So yeah, I need to get through today, mate. There was actually a chance at one stage that I wasn't actually going to be able to do a couple of these streams, but I am pushing through it regardless. So I just don't have the ability right this very second to do the wheel spinner. We'll do that tomorrow, though. We will do that tomorrow, and we'll include these. So Brighton's already done 10, and Scotty's got 15. So we only need 5 more for 2 spins, to be fair. I'm going to write this down, though. I will write it down. Thank you very much for the dono, boys. So let's go and put, all right, so from there, and for Scott. Yeah, so 5 more, and then we'll be able to do Two of them, but thank you very much. Small people tip the Eels tonight, Trey Horn says. Oh, smart people tip the Eels tonight. Yeah, I don't know about that. If you get a win, amazing, man. Amazing, but I doubt it. I think we all know that's a very doubtful one, but we'll see. Ben says, hey, Mr. BKR, I can't stay here, but I might join your next streams. May the best team win. Oh, no, I'm scared. Jacob Alloy says, the Warriors lost. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes over here. We've got Sherlock Holmes in the building. Well done. Ben says, thanks, Jacob. Who would have guessed? Didn't guess that. Didn't know. Wasn't really aware, until, even though I watched the whole game. Yeah. Hara says, hi, mate. Get around your Hara. Nate J says, hit the thumbs up. Show some support for the stream, you bastards. Yeah, smack it in, you bastards. Exactly right. Bulldogs getting ready to run out here onto the field. Ruzi out there says, the Bulldogs versus Knights starts at 3 p.m, but why is your time 11 a.m? Because I'm in Thailand. Yes, I'm in Thailand right now, so the time zone is different. Hara says, Eels is the game that's going to break the Panthers win streak, in my opinion. What are we backing it on? What are we basing it on, guys? Please, I'm asking, I'm begging. I don't want to have to blow up about asking people why they are thinking this, besides just saying, oh, just get a vibe. I want to know what the actual reason is for why you think Penrith will lose to Parramatta. Don't just give me, I've got a vibe, there's a smell of the air. This is the biggest grind that I have on this channel, is when people just come in, they say, oh, well, I think Parramatta are going to win. Why? Why? Is what I'm asking. What are you saying? Why? It's all I ask. It's all I ask. Sounds like you're coming down with dengue fever. It definitely does not sound like I'm coming down with dengue fever. What are you talking about? Dengue fever? Really? This is what you're going to do me with? There it is. Harris says, feeling in my waters. Screw your waters. Coming back, and we're back on. I think it just realised that I was just flipping out. I was flipping out because of the feeling in the waters comment, so it decided to mute me, but we're back now. We're back now. Nate says, missing a great rant there. There was a great rant there, mate. A great rant about the feeling in the waters and the emotional vibes. So fourth tackle for the Doggies, they're going to be the 35, and they get to Connor Tracy, and he'll bring it out to the 40 now on fifth tackle. 39 minutes to go here of the game. Now, I was just saying, I just want to know why. I don't care about the feeling in the water. I don't care about the vibe. First tackle now for the Knights. Dom Young with the ball. Oh, Thailand is a beautiful place here in Bangkok. I am in Bangkok right now, man. I don't know where I might leave on Monday somewhere else, but I also may stay here for another week before I go to maybe Koh Samui or Pattaya or maybe even Chiang Mai. I'm not too sure. I really don't know what I'm doing just yet. Hunter says, I couldn't hear you, but the vibe I got was aggressive. Very aggressive. My gosh. I was flipping out. Flipping out. I guess I didn't hangover film at Bangkok. Yes, I've been to, fifth tackle now at the 45. Yes, of course, hangover 2 is in Bangkok. Last time I was here, actually, last year, I went to the place up on the top of the building where, they're all slumped over the stairs and Bradley Cooper's on his phone. Connor Tracy's away here. He's run straight on through, but he's taken down to the 40. First tackle. Good run there from Connor Tracy. Great start here for the Doggies, and Jacob Kiraz brings it to the 50. That's a 6 again here for the Bulldogs as well. But no, last year I took a photo and I did, with a couple of people, and we did the reenactment of that scene. They're on the top of the building. Second tackle now for the Bulldogs, and they're at the 45. Yeah, Bangkok's got him now. Jamin Salmon, Matty Burton, and Burton's going to be at the 30 on third tackle, 25 on third tackle. This is a great set here from Canterbury. The one with Stu with the phone. No, it's not Stu with the phone. Who's Bradley Cooper's character? That's a 6 again here for the Bulldogs. That has been touched by the Knights. Did they call 6 again? Surely they call that 6 again. That was definitely touched. Wow, they didn't call 6 again. That was absolutely touched by Newcastle. But they didn't call it. So Lachlan Galvin now gives it to Jamin Salmon, and Salmon's going to be at the 10. They closed those stairs for a bit, then they realised that nobody went to the bar anymore, so they reopened it. Oh, that's crazy! Kicks it through, Lachlan Galvin! Oh, drop out. Good kick there from Galvin, though. Hey, we saw a kick on fit tackle. Ha-ha, Bulldogs were on fire. They made a kick on fit tackle. But to close the stairs, well, like I've been there. That would make no sense. Of course, no one's going to go to the bar if they've closed those stairs. You can't get to the bar if you close those stairs. The only way to get to the bar, looking over the city of Bangkok, is to go down those stairs. So what? Dropout by the Knights. They get the short dropout, and they'll beat the 20. That doesn't even make sense, Thunder. I'm saying I believe you, but that doesn't even make sense. As in, they close the stairs for photos. That's so lame, man. But yeah, no one's really... You can go to so many different rooftop bars in Bangkok that you don't need to go there if you can't take that photo. Like, you are getting your business through that. So 100%, it was stupid from their decision-making. 6 again here for the Newcastle Knights at the 50. This is a pretty energy-flowing game at the moment. Fletcher Sharp gets it off to Fletcher Hunt, and Fletcher Hunt's going to be at the 45 on second tackle. Yeah, that is just such a dumb decision. Because, again, you can't get to that bar without going down those stairs. And if you're locking off those stairs, well, that's just stupid. No one's going to go there. They'll go to another rooftop bar here. So they'll go third tackle. Sandon Smith off to Matt Croker. Croker then... And the Knights will be taken down at the 35. Off to the right to Dane Gagai. Fourth tackle. Well, it was a really good set, and it's kind of slowed down now. Fifth tackle here, 25 metres away. So they wouldn't let you take photos there. Yeah, that's so stupid, man. I'm glad that they've decided to go against that because that's so stupid. Why is there not a single Newcastle Knights player putting pressure on the kick just then? It's an attacking-minded kick and you don't put a single bit of pressure on it? Really? That's silly. I got a feeling that one of these teams will walk away with at least 1 point. Yeah, thank you, Mitchell. Yeah, I do think that no matter what, we will see a team here take away a minimum 1 point. I'm going to go with a ballsy prediction here. And I'm going to say that one of these teams comes away with 2 points. Massively ballsy prediction. Fourth tackle now for the Bulldogs, and they're going to be at the 40. We'll say it's been a positive start with both teams overall. And Ari Tuala here at the 50, taken down to the 45 on fifth tackle. Bunny says, I wish the Bulldogs logo collar had spikes on it. Might be doing a little bit too much there, but with that being said, I wouldn't mind it either. Knights will... knock on! That's actually a penalty for an accidental offside. Okay. Oh, well, he actually should have been just offside because he does deliberately put his hand at the ball, but Matty Burton with a huge kick. Lachlan Galvin steps inside, offloads it. Maxi King! I think he's been held up. Here. Oh, so close. This has been a frenetic start in this game in this first 5.5 minutes. This has been a frenetic start, man. Michael says, yeah, in Vegas, when I see the Caesar Palace building, I'm thinking, did Caesar live there? Dude, the amount of times they would get that in reception is sickening. It's sickening. Everyone would think they're just the best jokester ever. So Max King, does he get this down? It's in the bunker. Oh, he's got it! That's a try, Maxi King. That is a try, Maxi King. Hello. Unless they say this is dropped. No. Oh, his arm comes off it, though. Is that... No, that's not his hand on it. This actually may be a knock on. Because that left hand is Sandon Smith's hand, not Max King's hand, and his right hand actually comes off of the ball right there. I think this is a lost ball. Yeah. Max King loses possession. Correct call, so no try. No try. Could you imagine if you had to put a bet on Max King first try scorer at like 20-1 odds? Could you imagine? First try scorer, he probably would have been paying like 40-1 odds kind of deal. But it will be a knock on there from Maxi King, and the Knights will get the ball at the 20 for a 7-tackle set. Hello. But yeah, when you think about Vegas, man, and you Caesar's Palace, every single person would make the same joke every single time. Did he actually live here? I guarantee it happened every single time. Second tackle in for the Knights at the 33. He doesn't lie, Max King. He goes to church every Sunday. Well, he would have thought that he put that down. I don't think that he was lying there. He would have thought he put it down, but obviously it wasn't to be, and his hand just came away from it just before it hit the ground. Out of the right, Dom Young's away here. Dom Young's away. They've got 3-on-1, 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 3-on-1. Dane Gagai, Dom Young. Try time for the Knights. Hello. Try time for Newcastle here. This is actually this is a really fun first 7 minutes of this game. Wow, we 4-0 to Newcastle. The kick to come. They just conceded, called no try, and then they went up the other end, and Dom Young puts them in a bed with the try time. They had a 3-on-1, so kind of Tracy didn't really know what to do here, and Dom Young just fakes it back on the inside to Dane Gagai, and then Show and Go just goes it himself. Beats out Tracy, and try time for Newcastle. So what is his start? So much room there. That was not primetime Dogs defense. Oh, he killed the momentum as well. Mitchell says, you're not Royce Hunt, buddy. Oh, no. Thank you again for last night with the tips. Yeah, how much are we getting again? How much were we meant to... What was the... I think you ended up winning 500, didn't you? It was really good to see the Katoni Staggs... Well, Katoni Staggs scored twice, to be fair. It was really good to see him just get a try very, very quickly so that you could rely upon Reece Walsh, and he's a lot more of a reliable try scorer, in my opinion, than Staggs. But either way, Staggs got twice. Can't kneel, Dogs overrated. Well, maybe Brenton. He's got his shirt off right now, I'm sure. He's got the kits off and firing up. Well, 8 minutes gone here. But Nath, we're not allowed to be friends this weekend, mate. You can't be. Don't be giving me these niceties, mate. We can't be mates. We can't be friends here. You know, I'm going to have to deal with the 2-pointers galore tomorrow. Oh, hits the post and will miss. So it will stay 4-0 here to the Knights. 8 minutes gone. $52.30, 10%. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. We're flying. Every time the Dogs play the Knights, it's like they're kryptonite. The Dogs? I swear the Dogs won both games last year. What are we talking about? Let me go have a look. Bulldogs, 2025. In their first game of the season, they beat them 20-0. 20-0. And in the second game of the season, they only played them once last year and beat them 20-0. So I don't know about this kryptonite stuff. Don't know about the kryptonite. So anyway, Knights now bring this ball out here to the, I think it's the 30, can't really see at the moment. No, it is the 20, sorry, and now it'll be second tackle. So in 2025, they beat them 20-0 in one game. In 2024, this was kind of their first year where they returned to be good. They beat them 36-12 and 32-2. So don't know about this kryptonite he's talking about here. They've flogged him in all three of their most recent games. What are you talking about, said kryptonite? Anyway, it's only 4-0 after 8 minutes. Kryptonite. They've beaten by like 20 or 30 points every single time the last 3 years. 6-0 was epic. It was Harry, but that was also... Oh, that's a bad kick there, so it's going to be a 7-tackle setting for the Dogs. That's a sin bin. Based off of what we've seen, that's a sin bin. Based off what we saw on Thursday night, yep, he's in the bin. Correct call. Not yet Thursday night, last night. Correct call. Dylan Lucas, you're in the bin. That is stupid. He caught the ball in the end goal and he's deliberately tackled him before he could get back to the 20. That is exactly what we saw yesterday in the Warriors game. That is exactly consistency that we're looking for. That is a sin bin. So anyway, Harry, yeah, 60 was epic. That was a long time ago, though, and there's been 3-4 games in between that, and we've obviously seen the Bulldogs beat them by 20 to 30 points every time. So that's why I bite back at the Knights of the Bulldogs kryptonite, because it's not necessarily true. Maybe back in the day, sure, but not now. Not now, but that is such a stupid tackle there from Dylan Lucas, and the Knights are down a man for the next 10 minutes, and the Doggies will get the ball at the 45 on their own side of the field. Brian says Dogs are 7 from 7 with Critter as captain. 7 from 7 with Critter as captain? Isn't he always a captain? Isn't he always a captain? What do you mean 7 from 7? Every time I see someone kick a conversion, I'll be like, does he not miss, or will he miss? Well, he's not Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd doesn't miss. Third tackle. 30 minutes to go here, the first half, guys. 10 minutes gone. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Lachlan Galvin's been on fire today, in my opinion. I think he's definitely been one of their best players in the first 10 minutes. They go out to the left, off to Jamin Salmon. Salmon had to pass to Maxi King when it was selfish. Fit tackle, 4 metres out. Show us the attack here, Bulldogs. Bailey Hayward, Billy, bomb, Billy, held her short of the line. Good defence, Newcastle. Doggies still not firing on the attack. Nate says, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Mate, you are as close as they can get right now. Oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody closer as we speak. I'm watching you. Knights 67-0 is my full-time prediction. Yeah, you are a Muppet though, Mitchell, so we do understand that. Haruki Podmore says, prediction is 36-10, Bulldogs win. Well, the prediction is that the Knights will get a penalty right now, and the Knights are going to love this because they've got a man down. They're going to soak up as much time as they possibly can. Royal Grand Majesty said, if Knights, Eels, Cowboys win tonight, will you splash water on your face? But I'm probably going to have to splash water on my face tomorrow anyway with our dono streams. So, probably not, eh? But if Knights, Eels, and Cowboys win tonight, if Knights, Eels, and Cowboys, all three of them win, you guys can decide. Yeah, you know what? You guys can decide something now for something that we do within realistic expectations. Sure, you guys can be the decider of that. It's not happening, but you guys can say what you want. Second tackle out to 35. Bloodstar says, wait 9 minutes and win the bin. Yeah, that's what happens. Well, the Warriors did it yesterday. The exact same thing yesterday. So if you're a Warriors fan, you're complaining about that call we saw where the Warriors got a bin in the first half for tackling the player who was in the in goal and was trying to get out. You can't complain about it anymore, and you probably shouldn't have been complaining about it then, but you definitely can't complain about it more because we've just seen the next day the exact same things happen and the same result has happened with the bin. So the Knights now, Dane Gagai is going to be 20 metres away from the line. He's over the sideline. He's over the sideline. Good defence, doggies. I'm really enjoying this first 12 minutes, by the way. Really enjoying it. If I have Knights to win and Knights by 13 plus. Sean, let's not do this. Sean, please don't. Let's not do this, Sean. You do not have Knights 13 plus. You don't. You don't. I'm not believing you. I can't do this. You guys are just trolls at this point. I refuse to believe we've got someone saying that they genuinely believe it could happen. But based off of what have you got Knights 13 plus? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. Second tackle here at the 35. Kiraz to score 2 plus. Well, their attack's got to improve for that, and right now, like we say, if a team can score 20 plus, they usually just will beat the Bulldogs because they're not a high-scoring team. But it's just about scoring that 20 plus, and Connor Tracy brings it to the 45. Dylan Lucas still 6.5 minutes left of that bin. Sam doesn't miss when Hainsey was with... No, I'm not going down that path. Lachlan Galvin to Stephen Crichton, and Crichton now, he is going to be at the 35 to 30 on fit tackle. My bad, it's Critter that's 7 from 7 versus the Knights, including Cole Penrith games. I was going to say, isn't he always captain of the Dogs? Max King to Matt Burton. Burton to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin over the top. Nice ball. Gives it out to Enari Tuala. Marcelo Montoya. Oh, he's thrown the ball back on the inside for a try, maybe. But I think he's on the ground here, and they'll say this is a no try. I think they're going to say no try because he's gone down to the ground. This is great scramble defense from Newcastle here. Also good play from Lachlan Galvin. Something to keep an eye on. But I think because he's gone down to the ground and his arm with the ball has probably touched the ground at some stage and then thrown it back, that's probably why it's going to be a no try. But Fletcher Hunt, great defensive work there. Same with Bradman Best. He comes down and arm still up. Oh no, for me no way. No, that's 100% tackle complete. Yeah, 100%. This is a no try here. No try. Very close. Bradman Best as well here. Orphin says it's going to be such a hard season to call. Could be seeing unexpected teams in the top 8 during finals. Well, Titans are going undefeated from this point onwards, so I agree with you. But no, you're right. Like on a real level, you are right. It is very difficult at the moment. But you cannot tell me that this is not just, held. And he's in the end goal, so this is going to be Knights ball to 20. Knights are up for this today. They are. They are up for it. Don't get tricks as I got $1,000 on Dogs to make 250. I think I stuffed up here. But we are 13 minutes into the game. We are 13 minutes into the game. Can we all please just settle down and sing Kumbaya together? Let's just sing Kumbaya together for a moment. It is 13 minutes in, and it's only 4-0. Let's just relax. Let's just relax. Outback Dancer, I put 10k on Essendon, line plus 40 to 50. Yeah, that's great. Different sport, though. Outback Dan, yeah, different sport to what we're watching right now. So that's going to be Fletcher Sharp taken out at the 25 on second tackle. Not the game set match nonsense. Oh no, it's a pet peeve on this channel. The game set match nonsense is crazy. Third tackle of the Knights, and they're going to be at the 25. The Good Friday game will be a good one. Yeah, hopefully. Well, next week we have a game on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And 6 again, even Newcastle. The Bulldogs have done nothing with this man in the bin for the Knights. Wait, one came the Dogs who struggle with their attack. Sure, but also defensively, you would have expected them to be able to really hold out the Knights. Again, it's only 14 minutes in, but the Dogs should, prior to this game, be a easy favourite. They should. So I get it. I do get it. Fletcher Sharp off, but then again, the Warriors were an easy favourite against the Tigers yesterday, and they come a gutser. They come a gutser deluxe. 4th tackle here for Newcastle. They're going to be the 30. They are playing well here. And now it's going to be Matt Croker. Croker off to Sandon Smith. Sandon Smith to Fletcher Hunt. Fletcher Hunt's away here. Fletcher Hunt. No, maybe. Oh, it's a dropout. I don't really like the kick that he just did, but it ended up being actually pretty good, and it will be a dropout. Knights are on fire at the moment. They're flying. They are flying. Harry, the Tigers weren't winning yesterday without Luai either. Oh, wait, what's happening? Harry says, Sean, I'm a Knights fan, but against the Bulldogs and without Kaliamponga, we're not winning. Well, without Kaliamponga and Dylan Brown too, mind you. But, like, is there a chance? The NRL is very unpredictable, man. So, look, I don't think you can't win. I just think that it's doubtful that you win. But you've been the better team so far to start this game. The ball's bouncing awkwardly, but they will get the drop out at the 30. Not a high tackle. Fletcher Sharp, settle down. Justice, do you know much about the player that signed for Wakefield in the Super League for 2027? Oh, people were talking about this yesterday. Who was the player that signed for Wakefield again, guys? I literally forgot about it. I've forgotten the name. I would know. I just can't remember who's the actual player that signed. RTS. Oh, of course. We all know about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Jess. He's a... I don't know if I'd say, knock on there from Newcastle and the Bulldogs and get the ball to 15 or be a 0 tackle. We definitely do know about Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I wouldn't say he's a legend of the game, but he's been a very, very good player in the game. He has won a Dally M in the past, which is our man of steel for you guys. He's been very good. He's not what he once was, but he is still a very, very strong player, Roger. He's played Rugby League, he's played Rugby Union, he's back in Rugby League. He's won a premiership with the Roosters, I think. Did he win 2013 with the Roosters? I can't remember if he won in 2013. But either way, he's been at the Warriors for a bit in the Auckland Blues and all that. Oh my gosh! Lachlan Galvin has just been sent to another planet by Daniel Saifidi. That is a connection, son. That was slapped. Jess is a great play. Yeah, I would say, knock on Dogs. They're all over the shop right now, the Doggies. Knock on both ways, but Dogs first. And the Knights are going to get the ball. Again, the Knights are down a man, and they have not been in trouble, really, at all. What a hit. And so he was there at the Roosters in 2013, Michael. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know if he'd already come across the wires yet. But, Roger's a great player. He is on the older end now. What is he, 34? Roger Tuivasa-Sheck age. He is 32 years old, going on 33 this year. So he's no young, fresh pup anymore, but he'll still crush it in the Super League. He'll still do well there. RTS really revolutionised the sidesteps in the NRL. No, Benji did. So it's going to be nice now at the 42. Oh no, that's a bad pass, but luckily it didn't end up being bad outcome. Knights with the ball, first tackle. Now second tackle for Brabham Best. He'll be 38 metres away from the line. Second tackle. I just rocked up. Can someone please tell me who scored the first try? First try was Dom Young. Brilliant breakaway from about 50 metres out. It's unbelievable stuff. Third tackle now for Newcastle. Fence Crossland. Out to Sandon Smith, then to Fletcher Sharp, Dane Gagai. They're really finding space down this side of Crichton and Carraz, which is surprising. Usually that's a pretty locked up defensive side. They give it to Sandon Smith, back onto the inside, and fit tackle to 15. Crossland goes to Sandon Smith. They kick this ball through. Oh, he's been done over. Again, Tracy has to save the day. Connor Tracy's been really good today. He's been really solid. He had to save the day and slap the ball away before it's a dropout. One of the Bulldogs players slipped over. This is not easy for Canterbury right now. You would have expected this kind of stuff from the Bulldogs against the Knights, not the Knights against the Bulldogs. But this is also what the defense happens. What the defense does here for the Bulldogs, they do usually just keep them out. Benji, Hayne, SJ, and RTS are sidesteppers of note. Yeah, but I would say that ultimately the revolutioniser of the game would be Benji. And then, you've got to add those guys in. I think that's a knock on here from Newcastle. No, it's a knock on from the Bulldogs first. The Knights are going to get the ball to 15. Everything's coming up Millhouse in Newcastle at the moment. Brian, that's right. Bloodtar says, Tigers ruined yesterday's multi. Don't tell me Knights going to win today. Multis aren't looking fantastic amundos at the moment. Not looking too fantastic amundos. Michael says, Con Tracy fighting for the contract is expiring end of this year. I honestly, if it wasn't because of the salary cap, I would have thought the Dogs could have made a play at AJ Brimo. If it wasn't for salary cap problems, I would have been, at the Dogs, I would have thought that they would have been going for an attacking fullback like an AJ Brimson if they're not happy with Con Tracy. Obviously, the Dragons are potentially looking at him now as well. But if you're the Bulldogs, I think that's a great signing. Second tackle, you need to improve your attack, and AJ is an attacking-minded fullback. So go out to front sharp. I think Con Tracy's good. I think he's actually underrated, but I don't think that he's necessarily what the Dogs need overall when it comes to changing their attack. Knights here at the 5. They go to the right, and Matt Croker gets an offload away to Crossland. Crossland then, Sanders Smith taken down to the 15, 4 tackle. 20 minutes gone in the first half. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Fletcher Sharp, Fletcher Hunt, and he'll get the offload away. Dane Gagai. Gagai to Dom Young. Dom Young at the 5. He takes him on. Still going. Taken down 4 metres away from the line. Fit tackle. This is great stuff here from Newcastle. That's Sandon Smith. Sandon Smith kicks his ball through. It's going to be another dropout. This is brilliant stuff. And they're back to 13 on 13, by the way. And it's Con Tracy who mumps it up again. Tyron says, Knights and Tigers' attack has been looking scintillating. Bulldogs' attack is lacked, but their defence holds up. The defence always holds up, but their attack is they're not beating the allegations still. Let's not go crazy on the Tigers based off of that big win yesterday. I want to say them do it again because last week they still did lose to the Rabbitohs, and Rabbitohs defense was good, but let's just they go short again here, but that's not going to go the 10, and that is going to just be Knights ball at the 10. Doesn't go 10 metres. Bryson Goodwin need a chance of getting over. I want to time you out. Home of the NRL's Dogs have already gotten the hard part done with their defence, but to win a comp, their attack has to be better. This is what I said before the game started. This is what I've been saying since last year. I think the Dogs could still actually make a grand final this year. But when you're talking about who the favourites are right now, it would be Penrith. Penrith have the same kind of defence. The Dogs emulated their defence ultimately from them. And the Panthers have a much superior attack. So if you've got two teams that don't give up points and two teams that are very good defensively, well, you need to see what the outlier is. And the outlier is their attack. And the Knights will be held up over the line. So it'll be second tackle, 10 minutes out. The outlier is the attack. 19 minutes to go here in the first half. Putting the Dogs in the grand final is actually crazy. No, it is not. We'll argue it without just saying a flat-out generic statement. Why don't you debate it? Tell me why you believe that. Because you make a lot of really bold and ballsy calls here on this show, like the Bunnies, that I completely disagree with. Well, please feel free. I would love to see why you believe that the team with the best defence in the competition across last year and now this year is not, well, it's probably this year, but why do you believe it? Don't just throw out a random, flat-out comment like that. Why don't you actually debate it? So I'll give that to Dom Young, and Dom Young's going to be at the 10. Again, with all this attacking pressure for the Knights, they're still only down 4-0, mind you. So fit tackle, they go out to the left-hand side of Sam Smith. I look forward to this. I look forward to it. Real crazy statement to have third place from last year there. Brabham Bears kicks it through! And Viliami kick out. It's going to be another dropout. Another dropout. They're just defending right now, Canterbury. Harry says, teams I would like to see win. Warriors, Tigers, Sharks, Bulldogs, and Titans. Yes, you all love the Titans, Harry. You definitely love a big Titans fan. Titans says, Panthers are clear favourites, and I'm afraid no one is currently close to them. Early days, though. It is early days, but it's not like this is the first time we've seen them just be who they are. It's not like this is the first time ever. They've done it for years now. Even when they looked as poor as they did. That's a good kick there from the Dogs. That's going to go 63 metres. So now the Knights will bring this ball to the 42, and it's a bit of breathing space there. This is multiple years of what we've seen from Penrith, man. So that's why it's not just like an immediate thing. Still waiting, buddies. Still waiting. Second tackle now for the Knights, and they're at the 33. Kroger and Dylan Lucas will be at the 24. I cannot believe this game's still only 4-0, but it is what it is. 6 again here for the Knights. The Knights realistically should be up by more right now, but this is how good this Dogs defense is, but they just can't get on a roll. They just can't get the ball. Matt Kroger, he'll take this ball to the 5 on second tackle. They just can't get the ball, the Dogs, right now. They just can't do it. Second tackle out the back here to Pasami Saulo, and the knock-on comes, and it's a 0 tackle for the Dogs. And look at that defensive effort. That defensive effort from the Bulldogs is exactly why they have a good chance of going a long way. It's just their attack that struggles. Oh, the Bunny says, I forgot Adam O'Brien's the Doggies assistant coach. Yeah, you also forgot to reply to the comment because you made an outlandish statement that the Bulldogs can't make a grand final and that it's stupid to see the Dogs in the grand final, and you can't back it up. So I'm still waiting for that one. But yeah, you must have forgot about that one, just like you forgot about Adam O'Brien being the assistant coach. Mitchell says, Dogs won't make the grand final because it'll be Eels versus Dolphins. Yep, you've been timed out. Yeah, now we're going to see you in 5 minutes. Yeah, we're going to see you in 5 minutes, Mitchell. That's about enough of that for now. So first tackle here for the Dogs at the 45, Matt Burton off to Viliami Kikau, and Viliami Kikau is going to be to 33, gets the offload away to Bailey Hayward, then to Jamin Salmon off to Josh Curran to lock on Galvin to Satili Tupanua, and Tupanua is going to be the 25 on second tackle. Yeah, no, we've had just about enough of the Eels versus Dolphins grand final there for one day. Josh Curran's at the 15 on third tackle. Bailey Hayward off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin now short ball to Jacob Preston. And Preston is 8 metres away from the line. Fourth tackle. Bailey Hayward out to Connor Tracy. Tracy to Josh Curran. Slammed in a tackle. This is an unreal game right now. He's lost that ball. He's lost that ball. I know he's injured, but he had lost that ball before you blew the whistle there, referee. That should have been a knock-on against the Bulldogs. That should have been a knock-on against the Bulldogs, but he hasn't seen the drop ball, and then because he's now blown time, he's allowed to release the ball. That's an amazing tackle from Pasami Saulo on Josh Curran. He's been driven into the ground. We've seen some big hits today. Soto says, Dogs have choked 3 opportunities, could easily be up. Knights have done well to survive so far. Well, I will say, if the Dogs score and take the lead, considering this first 25 minutes, that would be against the run of play. Ah, yeah, Bunny's still forgotten to reply. Yes. Yes, still forgotten to reply there, Bunnies. The NRL says, saw Jacob Preston hobbling from a tackle, see how he goes. I think he's okay at the moment. He just made a hit up just before. Benny West says, Penrith are just a standard league team. Other teams' standards make them look special. What? You think that the Penrith Panthers are a standard league team? They won 4 premierships in a row. We're in 5 grand finals in a row, and we're 5 minutes away from making it 6 grand finals in a row, and probably would have beat the Storm in the grand final last year. But you've got them as a standard league team. Standard. Tricky says, what do you reckon the score for Penrith versus Eels would be? Well, I'm pretty confident the Panthers win, but then again, I'm not confident in anything in rugby league right now with results like the Tigers yesterday and the Knights right now. Standard rugby league team is Penrith. What do you reckon? Standard. All right. Well, Jacob Preston is still down right now, so you are right in regards to what's happened there. Talon says, Dogs won't make the grand final because they aren't the Gold Coast Titans. Yeah, that's a pinned comment right there. That's a pinned comment if I ever did see one. If I ever did see one, that is a pinned comment. Brighton says, you think the Bunnies will make the grand final over the Dogs currently? If so, what do you base that opinion on? I don't think he knows what he's talking about, Brighton. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. I think a lot of the time, he just says things to say things. I will say in this chat. Because I encourage the opinion, discussion a lot, but he never gives the discussion any value. So it's going to be Dom Young taking out of the 2. He says a lot of statements without actually saying anything to tell us why he believes this. So first tackle, now second tackle here for the Knights, and they're going to be the 4. Harry says the Titans will win. Trust. Harry, they might never lose a game ever again, Harry. They may never, ever lose a game ever again. Like, it's actually sickening to think about, really. Like, it's silly if you don't believe it. It's silly. Fourth tackle now for the Knights at 15. Now they're struggling for metres. This game is switching around a little bit now with this this Dogs defence just holding them out. But again, they're still down 4-0. They are still down. Jay says, why are we stopping a game from an injury from a great tackle? Usually does happen. It was a great tackle, though. There was nothing wrong with the tackle. That's why there wasn't a penalty. Connor Tracy brings it out here to the 40. But he did stay down. So typically you will see the play with the ball. If he stays down, they're going to stop the game for a period of time. Marcelo Montoya to the 50 on second tackle now. Titans never lost a home game in 2026. Titans making the grand final. Only facts here. There's only facts here. Fortress Seabus. Glory South Sydney says, come on, the Bunnies, you're embarrassing me. Like, it's all just banter and stuff at the end of the day. I will keep pushing for a response. So Lachlan Galvin at the back into Burton. Burton then kind of Tracy, quick passing. Now Tuata at the 38. Oh, no. Up the Bunnies says, we do have a better team on paper. Is that our halves need work? You do not have a better team on paper than the Bulldogs. So it's going to be the Knights. The ball's going to bounce backwards here. Burton's kicking game's been good. It's still going to be fit tackle. I'm going to have an aneurysm. I'm going to have an aneurysm here, Bulldogs. I'm going to have an aneurysm. They'll get this ball down to the corner, and Knights get the ball to 10. I'm going to have an aneurysm. The Knights bring the ball out to the 25. Rabbitohs will maybe have a better team on paper than the Bulldogs next year, but yeah, again, your halves is what brings you down. Cody Walker and Jamie Humphreys, or overall, I do think the Bulldogs have a better team on paper, and they've shown it more than what the Rabbitohs have. But also, I'm pretty high up on the Rabbitohs as well. Like, this isn't a cover. But also, that's not the question that I asked. You said that it was laughable to say that the Bulldogs could be a grand final team. So this has nothing to do with the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Why is it laughable that the best defensive team in the competition? It's impossible and hilarious to see them make a grand final. That's what we're asking for here. This has got nothing to do with the Bunnies. Got absolutely nothing to do with them. So, that's forward. That's forward. Yep, Knights forward passer at the 45 will be Bulldogs ball. If the Dogs play like this, we will not make the finals. Well, look, if the Dogs play like this, their defense is still only 4. It's just their attack, again, is still worrying. Scott James is praying for the guy for the 1K on the Dogs. He must be really nervous. You would be really nervous right now, yeah. We do have, I think you're pretty even on paper. Yes. I would still live with the Dogs on paper. But when you bring in Payne Haas next year, it's a different story. Home of the NRL says the Bulldogs' attack in 2021 may be better than this right now. Well, that was their emphasis. Their emphasis wasn't defense in 2021. Their emphasis was their attack. So, yeah. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. One count the Dogs paying $1.24. He's a bloody idiot if you ask me. There was someone worse in our cricket T20 World Cup streams. Dogs get this ball to the 38. Shatij, he put like, what did he say? Like 5K on something. Oh, his mate put like 5K on something paying $1.02. It was ridiculous. And then it was India, and it looked worrying at one stage in the game. But the Bulldogs are 28 metres away from the line. First tackle. Don't get tricks. Thanks, Scott, mate. Yeah, well, let's see what your response is to Nath J. Second tackle now at the 20. 12 minutes to go this first half. I think you're fine at the end of the day. Don't get tricked, but you might have got tricked as well. Anari Tuala, 5 metres away. Third tackle. Show us some attack, please, Bulldogs. Please show us any form of attack. And Lachlan Galvin, he's going to have to go down here because Tupanua would have been an obstruction. Fourth tackle, Bailey Hayward out to the left to Matty Burton. Burton now to Con Tracy. Tracy underneath to Stephen Crichton. Crichton's still going here. He'll get off to Galvin. Galvin kicks his ball through for Tupanua coming through, but again, nothing going on there for the Bulldogs. So the Knights come up trumps, grabbing best of the 5. That is just not good attack from the Dogs. It just isn't. Oh, next week, Panthers versus Storm. Can't wait for that one. That is a massive game next week. Well, we need to see the Storm play tonight against the Cows, and Panthers play the Eels today. But that is a huge game next week, Panthers versus Storm. Well, 4 tackle for the Knights. They'll be at the 30. Blocker has the face of dreams. A face of dreams? The Bunny says, I don't know, doggies are... Thank you for actually answering the question for once. I don't know, that's close, we're not on there, but it's a 5th tackle now for the Knights at the 35, 10 minutes to go the first half. Hit that like button, subscribe. The Bunny says, I don't know, doggies are a weird team to talk about. Yeah, they have the best defense in the comp, but their offense really does not make me think that they're going to the grand final, let alone the prelims. The point is, though, is that you can have the opinion that the Dogs won't make the grand final, but to say that it's a laughable opinion and a laughable option of saying the best defensive team in the comp cannot make the final, and a team that was in the top 4 and in the top 3 last year cannot make the final, and a team that has shown continuous progression across the years. Again, their attack is still not, and I critique it all the time. That doesn't mean, though, that the best defense can't make it. But as you hear, I always say that until their attack works out, there is clear separator right now between the Panthers and the Bulldogs. The Panthers have the attack and the defense. The Dogs have the defense, but they don't have the attack. So the Dogs can make the grand final. I don't have them winning the grand final right now. Right this very second, I've got my debate on it. But the best teams, when they don't look at their best, they still find ways to win. The Dogs haven't looked at their best in the first 2 games besides the bye, and they've still won those games. They haven't looked at their best here today, but they still could win this game. It's only 4-0. Drop ball here for the Knights, and they're going to get this ball here at the 8. The problem isn't that you think the Dogs won't make the grand final. The problem is that you think it's laughable to think the Dogs can make the grand final. And I think that's just blatantly incorrect. Right this very second, I've got the Panthers, and that's it. Right this very second. But if you're trying to figure out the other grand final team, It's difficult right now. It is difficult. You know, you've got your Storm, who lost the Broncos. You've got your Broncos, who lost their first 2 games of the season. You've got your Bulldogs, who currently undefeated, but are down 4-0 right now. Wow, Dogs! They've missed 27 tackles in this game already, with 9 minutes to go the first half. That is insane. An average amount of missed tackles in a half is 15 to 17. They're already at 27. That's crazy stuff. So the Dogs can't trace. He brings it to 25 on first tackle. Michael says, who's the guy that used to support Power is doing a 5 in a row win challenge? Muppet. Jakes says, who do you reckon will be the first mega signing for the Chiefs? Honestly, bias aside, give it by. But the Titans just need to make the top 8 to show the progression, and I think he'll stay. But outside of that, I think that at that stage when the Chiefs come in, you'd probably be looking at give it by. 4th tackle now at the 35. Look at his contract and look at when the Papua New Guinea Chiefs come in. Look at when his contract finishes up. But I think that he stays if the Titans are showing the progression they're in the top 8. Because if you say that on Instagram, you would get laughed at. But I don't give a fuck about Instagram. I don't care what the general consensus say. Well, that's going to be a knock on there for the Dogs. That's 0 tackle here. No, it's just going to be a knock on. Now the Knights will get the ball at 20. Again, poor defense there poor attack there from the Dogs. Who cares about what the general consensus say on Instagram? Everyone on Instagram just hates on every team. Panthers lose a game and it's like World War III. Home of the NRL says Bulldogs have had a whole preseason to work on their combination and it still looks like nothing's different. You know why? Because I still don't believe that Burton's a 6. And I still believe that Lachlan Galvin's more of a 7. And I think, Lachlan Galvin's more of a 6. I think that Burton, for mine, isn't a 6. And I think that Mitchell Woods should be their 7. But then again, that's a big risk because Mitchell Woods is super inexperienced. Knights are away here. The 40, 35, 30. And he's still going here at the 20, the 15, taken down 4 tackle. This is crazy what we're seeing right now from the Bulldogs. 4 tackles, 6 again for Newcastle. Oh my gosh, everything is coming up Millhouse their way. 10 metres away, first tackle. Oh my goodness. Milky Jenkins to PNG. Milky Jenkins is such a crazy name. Oh my gosh, Tippino has just been manhandled. The Knights 5 metres away. Tyson Frizzell goes bang! What a try right on through. And the Knights, they break through again. Bulldogs, what is happening? What is happening at Canterbury right now? The Knights straight on through. The pressure has just been monumental from Newcastle in this game. You got to give them the credit they deserve. Offense, I don't think Bulldogs playmakers enough compared to top tier teams like Grant. Yeah, but you're talking about playmakers again, which is their attack. So correct, I agree with you. Like Grant, Munster Hughes, or Nathan Edwards, or Walsh, Reynolds, and Mam. Mam had an awful game yesterday. Their playmakers as of now just don't compare. Correct. Again, the attack is the problem. No one's disagreeing with you here. You're talking about playmakers. You're not talking about anything else. You're talking about their attack. Everyone agrees with you in regards to their attack. Brighton says, you could argue the Bunnies are the opposite. They have the points, but not the defense. Just yet, anyway, could well change. Well, not last week. They had really good defense against the Tigers last week. Don't Get Tricked says, I can't stand Galvin, man. He does nothing. The first 20 minutes of this game, he was actually probably the Dogs' best player. But overall, he hasn't gone into the play that we were looking for just yet. But I think he's in the wrong position. I think he's a 6. Minty says, Bulldogs on roll should win. Well, they're going to be down 10-0 with 5 minutes to go the first half. Nil. To respect your opinion, but that was what I was laughing about. Yeah, again, don't buy into just because people laugh on Instagram. People aren't laughing at necessarily all the time for all different options of whatever you say about league. No matter what you say on Instagram, people will say, you're kidding yourself, you're off your rocker, because there'll be bias involved, there'll be, I hate this team involved, there'll be a whole bunch of things involved. Here is very different. Here is a conversation, debate kind of deal. There, it's just people with faceless accounts that are going to insult you for whatever reason they feel like. Alex Johnson will likely finish his career with PNG. How old is he? 32? 31. He's 31 years old. They're meant to come in 2028. If they come in on time, then he'll be 33, potentially. It's not a bad shout. But I wouldn't say it's like a marquee signing, really, at that age. The Frizz paying $10 a try too. Jeez, the Frizz, he's on fire. Bloodtars says, Dogs think they're going to come back on second half. No, you're not the Broncos. Well, funnily enough, the Doggies actually, before the Broncos became that second half team last year, the Dogs were that second half team last year. So I will keep that in mind. This is very much Dogs of the first half of last year. They were the comeback team, and I kept saying, like, that's not going to be viable for the long-term duration of the season. Broncos picked their moment. Dogs did it too early. They peaked too early. Third tackle now for the Knights, and they're going to be at the 42. So it's not a ridiculous thing. It's not overall a ridiculous thing to think about. The Knights now, they'll be at the 42 on 4 tackle. No, so I seriously don't see anything special about Galvin. I think the Tigers are better without him and the Dogs are less with him. I don't think it's disagreeable, but that is in hindsight as well. I think at the time Galvin did look good. I don't think he looked as good as they were making him out to be, but I still think that he looked decent enough at the Tigers. I don't think that you should have torn your team apart for it, though, and it's going to be another dropout here to the Knights. They have been absolutely all on top of him here. They're all over him at the moment. Like, all over them at the moment. This is really good stuff here from Newcastle. Really good stuff. Anyway, 4 minutes to go here of the first half, and they'll go for another shorty. That'll go to about the 15. They go up for it, and Bulldogs get it. That's a good short drop out there from the Canterbury. Tony Trick says, bye-bye, 1K on to the next one for me. Mate, there's 44 minutes to go to game. 44 minutes. Other mate says, can't wait to watch a touchline vlog. Yeah, they'll be pretty frustrated here. Dogs 2-1 now. Wowee. It's probably value. You might have to wait, maybe take Knights at $2, try to get your money back. Yeah, to be fair, you could hedge this, don't get tricked. You could hedge it. But that will be an injury here to a... oh, yeah, he's been crunched. Phoenix Crossland in between Fletcher Hunt and Jacob Preston. The hips have just come in towards his head. But also, just be aware, this Dogs team has been known to come back last year. They have been known. 3.5 minutes left here of the first half. Crossland will have to come out. Quick thing is, I tipped the Knights and I realised that Ponga and Brown were out, so I changed it. Well, Ponga and Brown probably would have changed a lot of opinions. I would have actually considered them because their attack did look really nice, but again, they hadn't really proven anything. But they've beaten the lesser teams, but not the big time teams. Now they're getting their first. This is so far their best game of the first 3, and they haven't even won it yet. Matt Burton now to Jacob Preston. He kicks his ball through for himself. Trip over there for the Knights. The Dogs going through, and it's going to be all over the shop. But the Knights get the ball at 10. It's actually not too bad. First tackle there for Newcastle. 10 metres out. Brown's more a 6. Yeah, 100%. But with that being said, him and Fletcher Sharp looked really good in that first game before Sharp got injured. And now Bradman Best, he'll be at the 25 on third tackle. Dogs still well on this. Yeah, it's only 10-0. But it's just like when the Dogs are in the lead, you're very confident because of their defense typically. But when the Dogs are behind, you're very worried because of their attack typically. And the Dogs just haven't had any opportunities in this first half, really. Like, they've had a couple, but nothing spectacular. The Knights have just pumped them and pumped them and pumped them. I think the Knights, I know, like, based off of preseason ways of thinking, this is a very positive result. Regardless, Marcelo Montoya steps in the inside. He'll be 25 metres out from his own line first tackle. You'd be very happy regardless. But, honestly, with the amount of ball the Knights had, you would have actually liked a few more points. And now Doggies will get this ball to the 35. Zacharian says, should I risk my 100 on the Dogs? Well, the word risk there is so key, but Galvin knocks the ball on, and it's a Knights ball at 35. I would say at halftime, if it stays 10-0 here, I think the value is there massively. But I think that if they can see a try here and go down 16-0 at halftime, I'd probably reconsider it. Because then that would force the Dogs to score 20-plus points. But again, early last year, first half of last year, the Dogs were a second-half attacking team. They would come back on teams. Thunder says, Dogs bombed like 3 tries at the start, then nothing since. Yep. Yeah, that knock-on from Max King as he went over the line is so brutal right now. Little moments like that when they happen, though. Look at the game yesterday with the Tigers and Warriors. They were up 10-0, and then the Tigers scored a try, mate, 10-4, and then on the first or second ball of returning set, the Tigers knocked the ball on. The Warriors pick it up. Then they get to the 20, and then no one at marker, no one playing the ball, so they lose the ball, the Warriors, and then the Tigers go and score bang, bang, bang. 3 tries before half-time in the space of 5 minutes. Little moments like that. Fletcher Sharp! Oh, it's another try for Newcastle! Dylan Lucas! Oh my gosh, the Bulldogs are getting done. The Bulldogs are getting done. It's 14-0 with a kick to come. Oh boy. Canterbury are going to be held scoreless in the first half, and they're going to give up 16 points. Galvin knock-on, crucial there, and then the Knights just get it, and they score pretty much with ease. Wow. That is, well, at this point, don't get tricked. You just have to let it go. You just have to let it play out. You just have to let it play out at this point, man. There's no point catching out as we speak. But Newcastle, the shock, the big shock. This is a massive round of upsets right now. Tigers against the Warriors yesterday. Newcastle against the Dogs today. Newcastle don't have Dylan Brown, and they don't have Kalen Ponga. Glory says, odds go up now. I'm still backing the Doggies in. Well, good luck. They haven't given you any reason to believe that so far. That should have been, I think it's on report for William a kick out too for a late hit. How are they even going to come back from that deficit? We see comebacks from this deficit happen all the time, Zekrin. What are you talking about? Should be a late shot on report for William a kick out, Michael. Wowee. Who expected this bad boy? Who actually expected this bad boy? Unbelievable stuff. And there we go, 16-0 half time. Woo! What a game. What a game. This is a scoreline you would definitely not have expected. Gee whiz. 16-0 to Newcastle. And the Dogs just honestly have not had any ball. And it's been because it's been an absolute clinical performance so far from Newcastle. There's a long way to go in this game. But these stats are going to probably show absolutely domination here. Actually, the stats don't show domination from the Knights as much as you would expect, despite the fact the score is 16-0. Let's obviously go and smack that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let's get into these stats here. So, score 16-0 to the Knights. The try scorers, Dom Young, Tyson Frizzell, and Dylan Lucas, with the conversions being 2 from 3 for Sandon Smith, and a sin bin of the Knights in the 8th minute was Dylan Lucas. So the Knights have also had a sin bin in this game. And they're the ones who are currently leading 16 points to 0. Then you go to possession. 56% possession to the Knights, 44% to the Dogs. I am surprised by that. I was expecting over 60% for Newcastle. I really was. I was expecting over 60% possession. But that's not the case. It is 56-44, so it's not as bad as you would have thought. Time in possession, 16 minutes and 35 seconds for the Knights, 12 minutes 47 seconds for the Bulldogs. That's 28. That's over 29 minutes of play here today. That is good rugby league. It's been an enjoyable game to watch overall, from a neutral perspective, in my opinion. Despite the fact 16-0, it is the upset, but it has been a lot of rugby league. It's not under 25 minutes of play, up above 29. Completion rate, minimum 80% is what you're looking for. The Dogs are at 77%, 14 from 18. It's not extravagant, but it's not too far away from the 80% marker. And the Knights are at 76%, 20 from 26. It's not quite at the 80%, but it's also not too extraordinarily away from the 80% marker. So both teams okay, not great with the completion rate, but I know which team is happier. Then go down to the attack. Runs-wise, 91 for the Bulldogs for 829 run meters. On a 10 meters run per average, then you would be wanting to see 910. They're at 829, so they are about 80-odd run meters behind the 10 meters an average per run that you're looking for from the Bulldogs. They're 80 meters behind that. Whilst the Knights, they're at 108 runs for 1,016 run meters, which means that, well, they're about 64 metres behind it. So they're still slightly in front there, but regardless, they've had the 17 more runs. You can't give the 10 metres on average per run to give that 170 metres to the Dogs to see what it would be like. ultimately saying that even if you were to give them that benefit and give them that extra 80 run meters to put them to that 910. Sorry, you give the 80 run meters to put them to the 10 meters average per run. Even if you give them the 170, they're still below the Newcastle Knights here by about 16 meters. So that's an unfair statistic and metric to actually use for the Bulldogs because they're not quite getting there. But even if you did give them that benefit, they're still behind them by about 17. So they're probably, off the top of my head, they're probably about 60 to 70 metres away comparatively if they got the same amount of runs, which is significant. The Knights are winning this game in a major way in that meters department, which you wouldn't have expected. The post-contact meters, again, 351 here for the Knights, 271 for the Bulldogs. You would have expected this Bulldogs attack, you would have expected this Bulldogs forwards to have more of these post-contact meters. And this is what I'm saying, you need Leo Thompson. Leo Thompson is so crucial to your team. You haven't got that big man in yet because he's been injured. When he comes back in, it's going to be so crucial because you're off by 80 metres. I know you're 16 runs behind them, but I don't think that with 16 runs, you get another 80 metres in post-contact. You probably get 50 to 60, but you're still behind them. So it's not looking great here for the Doggies. Line breaks is 4-3 to the Knights. Defensively is your main game. Well, your defending isn't on par today. Your defence, you miss a lot of tackles. Oh my gosh, you've missed a lot of tackles. I just saw your number. Oh no, Dogs. I've just seen the number, and the Knights defence is on fire today. That is insane. Line breaks is 4-3. For everyone who watches these halftime reports and the stats and whatnot on our streams, this is actually ridiculous. You know how significant this number is. Tackle breaks is 7 for the Bulldogs. It's 37 for the Knights. 7 tackle breaks to the Bulldogs. 37 tackle breaks to the Knights. That is effectively the missed tackles, right? So it's just tackle breaks is the benefit to the attacking team rather than the missed tackles, which shows the same stat but the negative against the defensive team. That is ridiculous. Average set distance, 25 metres and below is turn the stream off. It's pathetic. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 30 to 35 is hitting the marker. 35 to 40 is... 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. 46.03 for the Bulldogs. They're actually making a lot of meters on every average set. It means the Knights, when they're making their errors, it's early in the tackle count, which is really limiting their average set distance, whilst the Bulldogs are probably making errors later on in the tackle count, which is why it's allowing it to still be quite large. 46.02 is fantastic. That is an unbelievable amount of average set distance there for the Bulldogs. And the Knights are at 38.98. If they're not knocking the ball on early in sets, they're probably up around that 45 metre mark, but they're at 38.98, which is in the hitting the marker category. It's still decent. It's just not quite at the great category of 40 just yet. So that's an 8-metre swing in favour of the Bulldogs in this game. And then you go to the average play the ball speed. Very big difference here. 3.19 and below is extremely fast. 3.2 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And the 3.8 and above is extremely slow. The Bulldogs are at 3.47. So that is dead smack in the middle of the average category. And the Knights are at 3.29 seconds. That is in the fast category. Dead smack middle of the fast category there. So the Knights are moving the ball quite quicker. And the Bulldogs aren't getting that production out of that dummy half right now in regards to that play the ball speed. Now offloads is 5-5, very equal here. Then you go down to the forced dropouts. It is 5-1 to Newcastle. Usually you'll be lucky to see 1 or 2 in a half across both teams. We've seen 5 forced dropouts from Newcastle. That's showing real intense pressure on the line. They are showing intense pressure on that Bulldogs defense. And that's why you're seeing them break it through for 16 points, because teams don't usually just give it to the Bulldogs in regards to just constantly attacking their line and forcing them to just keep defending and defending and defending. Whilst the defense is amazing, 5 forced dropouts is insane. And then 1 for the Bulldogs was very early in this game. Kick defusal, 71% for the Bulldogs, 67% for the Knights. You go down now to the effective tackle percentage, and this is just a putrid from the Canterbury Bulldogs. Now, this is an individual metric, not a collective metric. If you're looking at the collective team, the Dogs actually have defended quite well to only be down 16-0 with all that intense pressure we saw. But 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, and 90% above is fantastic. It's basically perfect. The Dogs are at 81.38% right now. That is putrid. That is really, really bad. That is 7.62% behind the marker of 88%, and is 3.62% behind underwhelming. That's how bad this is. 201 tackles made for a whopping 37 missed tackles in that first half, and 9 ineffective tackles. The average amount of missed tackles in a half is 15 to 17. They are 20 missed tackles above the average, on the higher end of the average. 20 above the 15 to 17 average on the higher end, and the ineffective tackles of 9, the average is 5 to 7. So they're still above the ineffective tackles by 2. They're still above the average by 2. That is 46 bad tackles in 40 minutes of play. 46 bad tackles, which shows you it's actually amazing they're still only at 16-0. And it shows the Knights still have a little bit to go in that department, but also they're not the ones we're not complaining about them right now. But 46 bad tackles is insane. And 37 missed tackles on the key bad metric there is wild. Then you go to the Knights, 89.19%. They're in the marker category. 165 tackles made for 7 missed tackles. That is incredible. So the 15 to 17 average, they are 8 underneath the lowest of the average. That is really good there from the Knights. This is a massively separate game defensively. And then you go to the ineffective tackles of 13. Again, the average of 5 to 7. They're 6 above the highest of the averages. So compare the 46 bad tackles from the Bulldogs in the first half. Yes, they've had 36 more tackles made, but 46 bad tackles compared to 20 for the Newcastle Knights. 26 extra bad tackles in 40 minutes of play than the Knights did. That's a crazy stat in favour of Newcastle right now. The Bulldogs really need to wake up. Then you go to the negative play. 3 and under is really good. 4 to 6 is average. 7 and above is awful. Well, the team that would normally be in the awful category is the Knights, but today it is the Bulldogs. 7 errors for them. They are in the awful category for errors. The Knights still quite high, but on the higher end of the average section with 6. Bulldogs should never be around where the Knights typically are. Whilst this is actually a pretty positive amount of errors here for the Knights, they usually make a lot more errors. 6 is pretty positive for them, even though it's still on the higher end of the average. The Dogs being worse than them is deplorable. And then you go to the penalties conceded. Not too many today. 1-1. Ruck infringements, 4 against the Dogs, 3 against the Knights, and then there's been 1 sin bin for Newcastle. Ultimately, you look at this game and you go, well, the Bulldogs have had to defend a Mozza. 5 dropouts against them has been insane. I really don't know how the Dogs are going to come back in this game, but in the first half of last year, this is what they were. They were a bad first half team. They were the Broncos, but earlier on in the season. Let's go back to 2025 quickly before I get into this chat. So I don't think it was as early as the Dragons game in round 1 last year. No, it wasn't. But there was a point in last year where they had to really... or was it the year before? Maybe it might have been the year... No, because last year early on, they were down 20-0 to the Raiders at halftime in Canberra and won 32-20. I remember that one. And then there were definitely other games earlier on in the season. There were other games. So, yeah, they were down 20-0 to the Raiders, came back and won 32-20. And then that's right, the week after they played the Roosters, they were down 14-0 at halftime and came back to win that game 24-20. So again, this is giving you that positive that the Bulldogs can do this, but it's just looking really hard to do right now, man. It really is. The Rabbitohs game wasn't it. It was specifically those 2 games against the Roosters and the Raiders that are the 2 emphasis there. So it's like they can do it, but it's super unlikely that they do it. It's super. And then there's also the other Dragons game where the Dragons actually probably should have won that game in the end, but they found a way to win it. Anyway, long story short, I don't know how the Dogs come back here. I do give them still a chance to come back, but they've got to really wake up to themselves in this second half, man. This has been a great performance from Newcastle. It just simply has been, and it's given you a real set of confidence that this team has made the right decision to get rid of Adam O'Brien, and now they've got... Now they've got Justin Holbrook there, who's looking to really show the Titans that he was the guy, and you did the wrong thing getting rid of him for Desi Asler. So he's got a point to prove right now, and right now the point's been proven with how they're playing against the Doggies. But there's still 40 minutes to go. It's still 40 minutes to go, and a lot can happen, but it's not looking good for Canterbury as we speak. Ali Karim says, I still don't believe 16-0. I don't think anyone does. I don't even think Knights fans believe it. Dasman says, Knights can have Adam O'Brien back. Yeah, well, Knights fans did warn you when he came across. Raw Grand Majesty says, I know it's still early in the season, but it still seems like the Dogs have lost their best defence in the comp title. It still seems like the Dogs have lost their best defence in the comp title this year, even if their attack was poor, still letting in double digits. No, I wouldn't agree with that. You know, defensively this year, the Dogs, across those first couple of rounds, gave up 24 points. The best defensive team in the comp is the Panthers, very clearly, and they've played one extra game with 10 points only given up, so only 5 points per game given up there, which is ridiculous, and that was in... No, that was across 2 games. So they've given up 5 points per game across 3 games, but actually it was across 2 games because they held the Broncos to 0. But the Panthers are clearly the best defensive team in the comp. Outside of that, the Dogs are probably the second best defensive team in the comp. Like, they gave up 15 points, 14 points to the Dragons. They gave up 10 points to the Raiders. They've given up 16 points here to the Knights. Let's not get too crazy. You know, I think we're all jumping the gun a little bit here in regards to the Dogs' defense because it has still been very good this year and is literally the reason why they won their first 2 games. That's literally the reason why. And also, their defense in that first half there was actually really good. A lot of other teams would have been down by 20 to 30 points to the Knights in that first half, in my opinion. Rugby League Therapy says, I think Raiders softened the Dogs up last week. What are we doing? Harry says, I just came back to check the score on 16-0. Oh, yeah, go Knights. Yeah, no, it's good stuff right now. It's good stuff. Don't get tricked, says, I'm not laughing at the guy that says 66-0 to the Knights no more. If that happens, I think I'm giving up Rugby League. If the Knights win this game 66-0, I think I'm giving up Rugby League and we're moving the Bulldogs away from Belmore to Tajikistan. Somewhere else. We're relocating them. They shouldn't be losing this game 66-0, that's for sure. Katapani got into trouble with an off-field incident at the Valley last night. Oh no, what's happened? So the Knights are back out in the field. Bulldogs, I'm sure, will be really, they will be pumping to get back out in this field because that was embarrassing, and they're going to really turn this up in the second half. Alrighty. At the place, I do predict the Dogs to make a comeback. There is that belief there, but let's see. Let's see, man. It's a mountain of effort they're going to have to put in. Jimmy says, of course the Knights will win. I tipped the Doggies, so of course the Knights will win. Actually, were you the one who said this yesterday about the Warriors and Tigers game? And you said, of course the Tigers will win because I tipped the Warriors? Dude, tipping this year is bullshit. I'm sick of tipping already, mate. I'm sick of tipping already. How many else? I remember seeing the Broncos having like 40 ineffective tackles. Oh, is that across a game? That can't be in the first half. 40 ineffective tackles? No way. I don't predict the Dogs make a comeback. Ali says, it'd be not possible. It definitely is possible. I'm very hopeful right now. Bulldogs, please make a comeback. Long way to go. Long way to go. How about plus 5.5 in the Bulldogs? Yeah, I don't mind it. But then again, their attack doesn't give you any confidence, so I don't know. I don't know, mate. The attack is dreadful for the Bulldoggy Dogs. So Knights will get this ball here at the 5. With Greg Martu. He's going to bring it out to the 20 on first tackle. Harry says the 2023 Knights are back. Let's try and aim higher and let's try and go for like a 2001 Knights or something like that, yeah? Because like 2023, all they did was make the finals and got bounced out in the second week by the New Zealand Warriors very, very well. So let's try and aim for higher achievements there. Bunny says Knights and Tigers arguably could finish in the top 8. Yeah, that's about enough out of you. Yeah, we're going to see you in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's about enough. First, we had an Eels versus Dolphins grand final, and now we're talking in round 4 that we got the Knights and Tigers in the finals. So let's settle down. Let's settle down for a little bit. So fifth tackle now for the Knights, and they're going to be at the 45, and we're going to kick Sandon Smith down into the 10. And Jacob Kiraz, he'll bring it out to, gives it off to Connor Tracy. Tracy now to Marcelo Montoya. Marcelo Montoya, the 20, the 25, the 30, the 33 on first tackle. Imagine the Bulldogs just make the biggest comeback in NRL history. This isn't the biggest comeback in NRL history, not even close. We see this scoreline changed around quite a lot, actually. This scoreline is there's a reason why most people here are feeling like there still could be a comeback in this game, despite the fact that they're down 16-0. This isn't the biggest comeback in NRL history. And we don't talk about what the actual biggest comeback in NRL history is. Oh, there's right on 3. Matty Burton, Stephen Crichton, no! Oh, Dogs. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was a guaranteed try that they've just really cocked up, and it's Knights ball at the 40. Oh, dear. Oh, Bulldogs, you should have scored straight away, but they passed it straight to Newcastle. Burton makes a great breakthrough, and Crichton was following him up, but Burton passes the ball to the Knights instead of it to Crichton, and now it's Newcastle ball full tackle at the 45. I'm going to start there with the line break, but also, yikes. This has definitely been the best Knights, Harry. Yeah, the first two games against the Cowboys and Manly, not two critical teams. This is a critical game here. Obviously, you can't for the Warriors game, so yeah, this is definitely been the best performance from the Knights so far this season across the 4 games by far. Because out of the 3 games where right now they're winning, but the 2 games that they've won, the other 2 teams were Cowboys and Manly. So the next thing you're going to hear is Perth Bears versus Western Suburbs Grand Final. That's almost timeout worthy too. Marcelo Montoya gets his ball to the 33 on the second tackle. Yeah, it's a gee whiz right now, Jay. It is a massive gee whiz right now. And Naro Tuala to the 45 on third tackle. Harry says, Adam O'Brien has a curse. Last year he coached the Knights and we didn't do good. And now he's the assistant coach of the Bulldogs. Correct, but he's been the coach much longer than last year. He's been the coach of Newcastle for like 5+ years. Kurt Mann with the ball to 42 on fourth tackle. Can confirm I saw Katapani at the Pink Flamingo last night. What's the Pink Flamingo, Daz? Why were you at the Pink Flamingo? So 35 metres away, and they will punch that ball up into the air. This should be an easy one here for Dom Young, but Kirad's coming in heavy, and he'll make the tackle at 5. Mr. Adelaziz as well. What's going on with the Bulldogs? I don't understand why everyone is so high on them. They only beat the Dragons by a point in round 1 and beat the Rays by 4 last week. That doesn't give me a lot of confidence about their premiership chances this year. Okay, well, for starters, we're only 4 rounds in, 3.5 rounds in now. And also, secondly, their defense is still incredible. And thirdly, they still won those games. So their attack is their biggest concern. The attack is what we focus on, and they're not helping that out right now. And everyone's on the same agreement. But for people to continuously say, like, the Dogs' defense doesn't look as... And this is not an insult to anybody. But people say the Dogs' defense isn't what it once was. Well, it is. We're jumping the gun a little bit based off of a first half here against the Newcastle Knights, who have been really, really good. But again, the Dogs should have probably given up more based on that first half than what they actually did. It's the attack that is really worrying for the Dogs. And yes, it's not beaten any allegations at the moment. But I think we also need to settle down. Like, at the end of the day, they are currently undefeated until the end of this 40 minutes here. They're currently undefeated. There's a whole 27 rounds of the season, guys. Let's just not forget that. We're only 3.5 rounds in. And let's not get insanely crazy. Again, you've got to watch 5 to 7 rounds of a team before you have a good idea. Jacob Preston to the 24 on fourth tackle. Fourth tackle, 24 metres away. Tupanua, good run to the 13 on fifth tackle. It's been all Bulldogs in this first 5 minutes of the second half. Out to Kurtman. Kurtman and Matty Burton. Burton kicks his ball through. Played out there, but the Knights pick it up. Good work there from Newcastle at the 5. Yes, they've won. That's pretty much it, but sure. But with the team they have, they should be putting a score on the Dragons, not beating them by a point in the second half of Golden Point. Not necessarily. That's not how sport works. That's not how rugby league works. You see, for example, Titans versus Panthers last year in the late rounds of the season, the Panthers were up 24-0 at halftime, and they came back to be... Sorry, they were up 24-0 at halftime. They were down 26-24 with a couple minutes left. Panthers still found a way to win. The games don't just necessarily go based off of what you think there, and yet we still know the Panthers are a far superior and significant team than comparatively to the Gold Coast Titans. So that's not how the sport works. Like, sure, would you have expected the Bulldogs to be up by more? Yes, but the Knights also do have a lot of fresh rejuvenation in regards to a new coach here that is a lot different to Adam O'Brien. Adam O'Brien's also gone to the Bulldogs, mind you. The Bulldogs team isn't actually put together well in regards to their attack, and we've actually been saying this for a while now. That's why they really regressed after that beginning red-hot start of the season in the first half last year. They fell apart second half of last year because they made the wrong decisions, in my personal opinion. Again, that's my personal opinion. And then they've brought in Adam O'Brien, who I don't think anybody really agreed with coming there. I didn't even understand why they did that, but sure. But the thing is that the Bulldogs are still undefeated right now. They still are. It's just as simple as that until proven otherwise. Like, they haven't lost a game yet. They haven't lost this game just yet. There's still 33 minutes to go. Can we please wait 5 to 7 rounds, or 7 rounds is what predominantly we should be, before we start saying that teams can't win comps? We're only 3.5 rounds in, and the Bulldogs' defence is still very, very good. Can they fix their attack over the season? Yes, it can be happening. They do, again, even if they lose here today, they will be 2-1 to start the season with a bye. Yes, they will have the Panthers in a couple of weeks, which is going to be a massive, massive test for them. And the Panthers, I do believe, will win that game. But I just feel like it's insane that we're not, this isn't just directed at you, Artazi, but it's just insane that people are so adamant in regards to making really bold statements like this team can't make the grand final and we're only 3.5 rounds in. Third tackle now to 15. Jack says, why do people hate the Knights so much? I understand that they were last year's wooden spooners, but every other year they make the top 8. Well, not every other year they make the top 8. They've been pretty decent with the top 8, but also it's not about hate. It's just about we watched the Knights get the wooden spoon last year, and there's been a lot of changes this year. Who's saying that they hate the Newcastle Knights? I haven't said I hate the Newcastle Knights. When I make a pre-season prediction, Bulldogs will get this ball at the 20, I will predominantly take the team who came last in the previous year to come last again until we see the improvements, because last year they were awful. It's just as simple as that. That doesn't mean I hate the Knights. I think you're taking it too personally when people criticise the Newcastle Knights, because the criticism is absolutely valid. 6 again here with the Bulldogs. I used to do that with the Titans. I used to take it superbly personally. Now I just realise the Titans are shit, and I'll still support them, but I don't take it personally. I don't think people actually hate the Titans. They just realise how shit they are. And the Knights, they deserve the criticism, but they are going away from the criticism. Hello, one Leanne to watch the match. One Leanne, I don't know what that means. Lachlan Galvin's going to be at the 35 on second tackle. 32 minutes to go here of the game. Would you say that the Knights this year, from what you've seen, have a good attack? So far, yeah. So far they have, yeah. Warriors did them pretty easily last week. I think the Bulldogs should have come in underdone here, to be fair, but there's still 31 and a half minutes to go here of the game. The Dogs are all over them in the first part of this second half. Con Tracy to NRL Tuala. Tuala! Oh, he's 2 metres away from the line, 4 tackle. Update the score. Okay, Will on second, Jay. Just let this set finish up. Bailey Hayward at the 15. He gives it off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin at the back into Stephen Crichton. Stephen Crichton at 20. He gives it off to Con Tracy. Con Tracy, quick passing. Burton, forward pass. No. Well, Kiraz is going to throw that ball back on the inside. Dogs are going to score, Matty Burton. I really think there was a forward pass there. I really thought there was a forward pass there, but the Dogs are going to score a try and they're back in the game. They are back in the game. I definitely thought there was a forward pass there, though. So 16 points to 4 to kid to come. They need that. They've been all over the Knights in this first 5 minutes of this second half. First 10 minutes of the second half. I want to see this again, though. Yeah, the commentary is talking about the forward pass as well. Galvin, Crichton, then Crichton at the back to Tracy. Tracy then to Burton, and 100,000,000% that's forward, bro. That's a metre forward. Like, that's a metre forward. And commentary's talking about it too. That's actually, if you're a Knights fan, you should be spewing about that, because that's a pretty clear forward pass. Like, what's the point of touchies nowadays, man? What is the point of touchies? It didn't come out of the hands backwards, and it clearly goes forwards. But either way, it's a try with the Bulldogs and they're back in the game, but you've been given a leg up here. You've been given a leg up here. 30 minutes to go of the game, folks. Hit that like button and subscribe. Bulldogs get super lucky with a forward pass try here. There's literally no point to touchies nowadays. Raw Grammar says, consolation try, ref felt sorry for the Dogs attack. Yeah, maybe at this point. Make a wish try. What is this thing, by the way? I keep seeing that, Justin. Oh, no. Yeah, like, you've got the laughing emoji, but before that, it's got, like Chinese symbols. I've seen this a couple times here today as well. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Do you guys see that as well, or is it just me? If I put my mouse over it, it disappears and it's just a laughing emoji. But if I don't put my mouse over it, it has like a Chinese damn well symbol. It's speaking Mandarin. All right, Stephen Crichton to make it a 10-point game. And that's what he does. Over the back dot. Boom! 16 points to 6. You got lucky, Dogs, but you take it. The Knights need to score more tries. Thank you, Sherlock Holmes. Just you, mate. No, Brighton. No, not me. Never me. I can't believe that they've given that try, though. He's a spy. Well, Sundo, I believe, said he is going to China this year, so I'm starting to feel like Sundo is a spy. But you are in Perth, which is close enough to Beijing, closer to Beijing than Australia, so I reckon he's going to meet you. You're both spies at this point. Chinese symbols, yeah. This try ain't convincing enough. Knights by 13 plus. Yeah, don't know about that right now. Don't know about that right now. Jeff Score says, go Bulldogs. They need a lot to do to come back in this game. But with that being said, they get very lucky with that try not being called for pass. They get the try. They're down by 10. One job touchies. How do they always get it wrong? I just don't know how you get that wrong. That was really bad. No. Not the BKRsport logo. There was something else. It came with like bloody Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese spelling before that laughing emoji that you put after the BKRsport logo. Third tackle, the old BKRsport logo. Third tackle now for the Dogs at the 45, and Jamin Salmon gets his ball to the 45 on the Knights side of the field. Don't forget, we will be live for the next game, which is the Panthers versus the Eels, and then right after that, we will have The Cowboys taking on the Melbourne Storm. Fifth tackle at the 30. They go out to the right, and it's Galvin. Puts that ball up. The chase through is good. Galvin gets it. That's a penalty. Yeah, this is a penalty to the Dogs here. Comebacks on, lads. Comebacks on. Miss Adoziz, I understand that any team can beat any team on their day, but in most cases, majority of the time, the really good teams like the Storm, Panthers, etc., would have beaten the Dragons quite comfortably. Yeah, majority of the time, though. So how do you know that that wasn't a majority of the time thing from the Dogs? How do you know that wasn't just off there from the Dogs? At the end of the day, the Dragons played them well. They defended quite well in the game, but the Dogs also didn't have the attack. I think you're just trying to find reasons to hate on the Dogs here, to be fair. Again, they are 2-0 to start the season. I genuinely believe that you are trying to find reasons to hate the Dogs because they still started the game with a win. If your team gets a win, you don't care how they get a win as long as they do get a win. I feel like you're a Warriors fan. You would have taken the first 3 wins, and even the game against the Knights, despite and then obviously we won't even talk about yesterday, but I feel like you're trying to find a reason to criticise the Dogs here more than what they need to be criticised for. Criticise them. Tupanua will be over the line. Back at the 10. It's going to be 4 tackle. Criticise the Bulldogs, sure, but I do think it's you're looking for extra reasons to hate on results where they still got the win regardless, even though it was controversial. The Bulldogs started 0-2, the Broncos started 0-2, and then they went and beat the Melbourne Storm. But they won the premiership last year. Do you understand what the point is when I refer to that? Maya says, if Tigers lead half-time at 16 points and now the Knights lead half-time up by 16 points, does that mean the Knights will win? That doesn't mean absolutely jack shit. Nay says, I pledge my allegiance to China. Okay, well, don't know what's happening there. 4 tackle here at the 20. Second half territory, 77% here for the Bulldogs, 23% here for the Knights. Since when does attack win premierships? Oh, Daz, we will definitely criticise the Bulldogs attack. It's just simple as that. I don't think you win a premiership. Right now, the way the game is going, you are leaning towards needing to have more of attack. You are. Like, defence still wins premierships, but also your attack is so poor that it's going to lose you a premiership. I think, no, it will lose you a premiership rather than defence wins premierships because your defence is unbelievable. 6 again here for the Dogs at the 35. First tackle at the 42. It's all Dogs at the moment. Again, Sunday with the laughing emotion. It has the Mandarin. There we go. He's a spy. Sunday is a confirmed spy. Yes, but the Bulldogs also don't have the attack of a Storm or Panthers too. Correct. No one's arguing this. No one's debating this. I don't know why this has been a thing. No one has ever said... Every single time I've mentioned it, I've always said that I don't think the Dogs can win the premiership because their attack is not as good as the Panthers. But also the Storm are super inconsistent. Storm have also lost a game so far this season. They got the offload away here. They give it out to right-hand side, off to Galvin. Galvin then to Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy and Ari Tuala. Tuala stepping. He'll be 20 metres out for the line. 4 tackle. 4 tackle. See, Brighton's done it as well. I'm telling you, we've got spies here in this chat. Galvin, 14 metres away from the line. 5th tackle. Bailey Hayward quickly off to Matty Burton. Burton here goes it himself for the try time for the Doggies. Choo, chugga, chugga. Big Burton car with the try time. And it is 16-10 with a kick to come. And here come the Doggies. Here they come. Bang, bun me, Burton. Bang, bun me. I like it. I like it. Bang, bun me. Bang me. Bang, bun me, Burton. Burton. Bang, bang me, Burton. That's how they'd say that. Good offload there from kick out back to Hayward earlier on in the set. But with 25 minutes to go in the game, this second half has been all Dogs. All doggy, woof, woof. Good talking to it at half time, obviously. Again, this is what the Dogs did in the first part of last year. They did do it. And this is the Knights at the end of the day. I fear I'll be called a hater for saying that. But, like, the Knights were so good in the first half. I would have liked them, based off of what we saw in that first half, I would have liked them to still be up by a bit more. But the Knights do look like they're running out of a bit of energy in the tank right now. They do. 24-16 final score. Doggies win, my prediction. It's not bad. I don't think this is just a guaranteed win for the Bulldogs just yet. I'm so unconfident on their attack that I'm not just guaranteeing that they win still from here. But it's been a much better second half performance in the first half already, obviously. Like that Raiders game when they came back from 20-0 down. Yeah, and also 14-0 against the Roosters. In back-to-back weeks, the Bulldogs were down 20-0 to the Raiders at GIO Stadium, and they came back to win that game 30-24. And the following week, they played the Roosters, and the Roosters were up 14-0 at half-time, and they came back to win 20 points to 16 or something like that. That's what the Dogs can do. there is still question marks on this team. And that's why it's so hard, because people are like trying to. That's going to be a 2-pointer there, so it's 16 points to 12 or 24 minutes to go. People are trying to over-criticize the Bulldogs. Criticizing the Bulldogs is absolutely valid, but there is a lot of over-criticism for them, is what I'm saying right now. So when I'm trying to defend the over-criticism, it's not, I'm trying to do it in a way where the criticism is still valid, the over-criticism isn't. So I've got to try and keep that ground in between here, where I'm not overall defending everything, but also this is too much kind of deal. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard. Dasmo says Dogs winning 13 plus. Either way, you're still getting criticised for this game. Minty says, come on, Bulldogs, Warriors was shit, make my day. Yeah, Warriors weren't good yesterday. That was a very typical loss for them yesterday. Mo says, good evening, mate. Mo, we're not friends this week, Mo. Come on. Mo, you're a Dragons fan. You and Nath J, we cannot be friends this week, sir. Don't you start me. First tackle now for the Dogs at the 10. Dasmo says, shout out to the Broncos fans in the chat. This isn't the first time Stephen Crichton has made a 16-point comeback at Accor Stadium. The Bulldogs were up 18-0 against the Broncos, and the Broncos came back and won that game, Daz. What are we talking about? William and kick at the 40. Am I missing something here? The Bulldogs were up 18-0 in that game, and you lost. Right-hand side, they give it to Anari Tuwala at the 50, the 45, the 40, and it's fit tackle. Saxes, can't even be happy about getting my tip correct because everyone in my comp tipped the Dogs. Yeah, that is what happens. This today, at least this is a great game because today looks like 3 blowouts, but this obviously hasn't been a blowout. Dom Young, great grab. He'll get over 10. This has actually been a really enjoyable game to watch. Even when it was 16-0 Knights, it's been an enjoyable game. Brian says, old mate with the K on the Dogs is feeling a bit better about himself. He's feeling a lot more confident than he was. 2023 Grand Final, I think he means. Okay, thank you. Well, sorry, Daz. You've gotten a little bit of a drive-by there by me remembering a different game. I don't think Crichton actually played in that game because that was during Origin last year. Third tackle at the 30. 24-8, you Muppet. I'm not a Muppet for not remembering a Panthers-Broncos game when we're watching a Bulldogs game, and in the reference of Bulldogs and Broncos, we saw a comeback last year of 18 points at Accor Stadium. Fletcher Sharp taking at the 42 on fit tackle. Of course, I'm going to immediately assume that you're talking about a Bulldogs-Broncos game, and the most recent one, mind you. Sanders Smith goes out to Dane Gagai. Dane Gagai kicks this ball through, and it will be Bulldogs. Kind of Tracy brings it at the 20 and takes it down to the 28, first tackle. Come on, Knights, make a comeback. What do you mean Knights make a comeback? They were up 16-0 and they're still leading 16-12. Who's comeback what? They're not the ones doing no comeback. They're still leading the game. So Marcelo Montoya will be third tackle at the 50. Knights got to somehow stop this momentum. It's all Bulldogs at the moment. Lachlan Galvin, he'll bring it to the 40 on the Knights side of the field, fourth tackle. They go to the left-hand side of Kurt Mann. Kurt Mann steps 6 again for the Bulldogs. They go to the right. It's going to be Preston. Quick passing. They're away. Marcelo Montoya at the 20, the 15. Oh, he gets the off-foot away. Did that hit the ground first, though? Oh, I would have argued that hit the ground first there. But anyway, Galvin, he's 8 metres away from the line on first tackle. The Dogs have a chance to take back the lead here. Bailey Hayward, he goes out. It's off to Kurt Mann. Kurt Mann, Sitili Tupanua. And Tupanua is 3 metres away from the line. Second tackle. Can you hold out here? There probably should have been a 6 again there against Kant. They give it to Matt Burton. Burton steps. Burton steps again. He's at the 10. He's looking for hole. He cannot get the hole, though. He's 4 metres out from the line. Third tackle. Nice, you need some amazing defense right now. Bailey Hayward. Oh, Lachlan Galvin, you are shitting me. That's a knock-on from Lachlan Galvin. Oh my gosh, this is a crazy game, man. 20 minutes to go of the game. The Knights still lead 16-12 when they led 16-0 at halftime. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. We will be live for Panthers versus Eels after this, and then the Storm versus the Cowboys. But wow, this is a pretty intense game right now, man. This is a really intense game. Why on earth would I want to bring up any Bulldogs-Broncos game from last year? Daz, look, I don't know. It's not my fault that you made the mistake, champion. Buddy, bucko, pal. Copper, champion. It's not my fault. Knights now will be at the 10 on first tackle. Now, Homie says, how can you come back when you're up? It's a very, very interesting thought process there. If someone could explain that, it'd be fantastic. It would be fantastic. And again, I'm sick today, so... it's super hard to keep on going crazy. Dom Young is trying to claim, I think, a crusher here. I don't know what he's trying to claim, to be fair. But I'm trying to smash out the energy, but I'm super sick, so it's it's taking a lot out of me. Come on, Galvin, earn your money, young fella. Yeah, he's had a couple of knock-ons in this game. Oh, he does come on the back of his head there. Oh, pause on that wording. Wow. He has come down on the back of his head there. So Max King is on report, and there's a penalty coming up here for the Knights. Don't bucko me, pal champ, buddy. All right, champer. Doing pretty damn well. I'm trying my best, Brian. I'm trying my best. Kick Galvin out, man. They would be okay. Trust. No, I think Galvin's 6. I think Mitchell was 7. But then again, Burton's done a pretty good amount in this second half to bring the comeback in, obviously. With the fact that... hold on 1 second. I've got to refresh this. With the fact that he scored both of their tries. With that being said, overall, I don't think he's a great 6. But he has had a good second half here today. And 6 again for Newcastle. They're away there. The 50, the 40, the 35, the 30. Dom Young on his right hand side. He gives it to Dom Young. For Newcastle will break the momentum and will score. Dom Young again. Try time Knights with 19 minutes to go of the game. The Knights have gone bang, bang, baby. Little uppercut here with an elbow coming through. The comeback was on, and now the Knights, they have stopped the comeback for the time being. Very quick there. I don't know what their defense was. And then away they went, and the Knights, Dom Young will bring it back out to an 8-point game. An 8-point game. Try assist there for Jermaine McEwen, who's actually been pretty decent today. Pretty decent. You're lucky the Knights were able to come back from that. Yeah, big comeback. Massive comeback, mate. Massive, huge comeback. Massive comeback there. Alright. Well, Bulldogs, now you're going to go back again from 2 tries down. Hey, well, remember when I said you need to score over 20 points here today, Dogs, to win the game? Well, you're going to have to score over 20 points to win this game. Usually teams that score 20 against the Dogs will tend to win the game. And that is on the back that their attack is not good, but their defense is amazing. So if the Dogs keep them under 20, they tend to win. If they let them get over 20, they tend to lose. Jacks up the Mighty Knights. I hope Dom Young's shit dreadlocks get torn out. Gee whiz. And he says over 38 points, I think, altogether. Yeah, you say that now, though. You probably wouldn't have thought that before the game started. To be fair, our first home game was against the Warriors. What does that have anything to do with anything? What does the first home game against the Warriors have anything to do with anything? Plenty of time, Dad. There's plenty of time here. 18 minutes, and it's only 8 points. So if he misses this, it's a converted try plus a penalty. So Sando Smith from the right-hand touchline. You can't get too more far right than this. And Sanders Smith will miss the kick, so it's still only an 8-point game here, Doggies. You're still on. They've missed 2 kicks, which is keeping the Doggies in this with a sniff. And they do like a good old sniff, Bulldogs. They do like a cheeky old sniff. Up the Nars. Oh, no, we're not doing this. Not the Nars. No, not the Nars. Up the Nitties. That's what we're doing. We're doing the Nitties. And then if we go to the Titans, we go up the titties. You know, that's what we do. You know, rather than the wahs and the pahs, we got the nitties and the titties. How good's that? Dom Young is carrying the Knights. No. Okay, so it's going to be a Knights now with the ball at the 3. And they bring it out here to the 15. The Knights have been very good so far as a collective. Let's not take away from the team effort just to give it to a try scorer. But again, Dom Young's been good, but so has everyone in the Knights. Up the tip-wise. Get around the tits. Up the tits. Third tackle now for the Knights. They'll be at the 30. Jace is 300 watching. Hit the like button. It's free all weekend. It is. It absolutely is. Matt Croker. He's going to be 40 metres away here from his own line. 4th tackle. Tasman says, come Fletch, though, and intercept your cat. Well, I'm pretty certain he's playing this game here today just in spite of you, really. Does he actually, when you guys lose, if you guys lose to the Knights, do you reckon he'd slap you for it? Surely he would. Growing up, was he a Knights fan, or who did he support growing up? They'll be Dogs now at the 22. Who did he support growing up? No, we're definitely not using home in the NRL's comment. Second tackle now for the Dogs. They'll be at the 25. What do you suggest a 2-pointer for the Dogs? Nath, I reckon you're onto it here. I reckon a 2-pointer's prime time. Bring it back within 6. Marcelo Montoya, third tackle here at the 30. 17 minutes to go here of the game. Stephen Crichton You're going to need to captain them to some good momentum here. The momentum was all in their favour, and that's a penalty. That's massive. That's massive. A penalty to the Dogs, and Crichton with the ball. Captain all the way up the front. It was a Manly fan. I'm so sorry to hear, Daz. I'm so sorry to hear. They're going to challenge this here, Newcastle. I don't know if they should. It can be interesting what they call here. This is just 4 of them. That's not a bad shout, no. 4 penalties, 4 2-pointers. Now, that is absolutely rocking. There's a hand on the ball right here from Sandon Smith. And why are you challenging this here at the moment? Hand still on the ball. Hand still on the ball. And he pulls the ball out. That is a strip. And this is a penalty. Sandon Smith, that may be the dumbest penalty to give away in the history of mankind. That is so incredibly stupid. You are up by 8 points. It is 4th tackle on their own 45. Why are you stripping the ball out there? That makes absolutely no sense from Sandon Smith. There was absolutely no benefit to what just happened on 4th tackle in their own half. Anyway, Burton now to Max King. It's going to be first tackle for the Dogs, and they're 35 metres away here from the line. If you lose this game in Newcastle, you can look back to that moment. First tackle out to the right. That was Sean O'Sullivan, and now it's Sitili Tupanua, who's 25 metres away from the line. Blaze was going off at some bloke for suggesting a 2-point going from 4 behind last night, Nathan. Can you believe it? I was, yeah. No, the Dolphins were down by like 8 points. Oh, no, what were they down? 10 points or something? I can't remember. No, they're down 4 points. That's right. They're down 4 points, and the guy said go for the 2. With like 3 or 4 minutes to go, whatever it was. 4th tackle. The Dogs now, they give it to Kurt Mann, to Lachlan Galvin, to 15. Short ball, Viliami kick out, Vili Bombili. 5 metres away from the line. 5 metres away. Last tackle, Bulldogs kicking it through, but it's Crossland who comes up with the ball at the 2. First tackle for Newcastle. Now let's see this heavy Dogs defense. Oh, Crossland, get up, bro. We know you didn't get up. You're milking it. Greggy Matthew. He'll get taken down now at the 5 on second tackle. Crichton field goal 20-13, and then kick 4 goals to win. How about a 2-point field goal from Crichton? Now that's magical. That is magical. 4th tackle now at the 40. Sorry, at the 20. Doesn't surprise me. Again, Nathan, the Dolphins were down by 4, and the guy wanted them to go over the 2. So, and it was like with 5 minutes to go in the game. So I think you can understand my little bit of criticism for that decision-making process. So the Bulldogs, Con Tracy brings it out now to the 40 on the Dogs side of the field, first tackle. So close. Brighton says, some just can't comprehend the brilliant tactics of the Dragons. No, exactly right. I'm looking forward to playing 2 points tomorrow. Marcelo Montoya will receive a penalty here. Will receive a penalty for a crusher, and the Knights have been a little bit silly at the moment. You've been very silly. Stop being silly, Newcastle. It's a penalty for a crusher. Silly, silly, silly. Pressure on the neck, and the Dogs will go back onto the attack. Cut amongst the pitch and stuff. It's very intellectual. It's so far intellectual that I don't think any, rugby league fan will ever get going for 2 points down by 4 with like 4 minutes to go. It's incredible stuff. So 35 metres away from the Knights line, the Bulldogs will have the ball. Sanders is a shit name too. Why are you saying Sanders is a shit name? Why has he got a drive-by in his name here? Why is Sanders getting a drive-by in his name? First tackle at the 30. They give it off to Matt Burton. Burton then to Max King. And Max King is going to be 25 metres away. Second tackle. Dogs, you score a converted try here. It'll only be a 2-point game. We're going to belter for the last 13 and a half minutes. Lachlan Galvin. He goes to the right. Connor Tracy slaughtered by Bradman Best, and he knocks the ball on. Bradman Best with an absolutely spectacular tackle there, and it's a knock-on from Connor Tracy. That is unbelievable stuff there from Bradman Best. Unbelievable stuff. Galvin watching the game go by without him. Well, Connor Tracy just got absolutely manhandled by Bradman Best and just could not hold the ball. Can't trust a guy with 2 first names. Oh, none of the drive-by of the name. We're just insulting people's names at this point. Landed right on the point of the ball. It's hard to keep that in. It was a great tackle from Bradman Best. Okay, Knights, don't be silly now. Don't be silly. Just complete your set. They're back at the 20 on first tackle. There's still a long way to go in this game. You have not won it just yet. And that was a good contact hit there from the Bulldogs, Jacob Preston, but it Didn't really do too much. Second tackle out to 30. Brabant Best is a great name. That is a very rugby league name. Brabant Best. That's very rugby league. And now Newcastle beat the 35 on third tackle. I roll back, Crossland off to Fletcher Sharp. Sharp across now to Greg Martiu. And Greg Martiu just stay in the field of play. Yeah, he will at the 50, a fourth tackle. One of the great names. That is one of the grades. One of the best names is what we should say here, Bryden. One of the best. Fifth tackle here at the 38. And it's a penalty to Newcastle. Lachlan Galvin, you have had a disaster in this game. Lachlan Galvin, you have had a nightmare of a game. A nightmare. There's another penalty coming up here, and Galvin with the hip drop is what they're going to call on Matty Croker. He lost his feet. It's the correct call. It is. It is the correct call here. He does intentionally lose his feet in that situation. So 11:45 to go here of the game. It's 20 points to 12 Newcastle. If they score a convert try here, I'd be pretty happy to say it's game. Don't worry, Dogs, Galvin won't get fined. Scott says, hopefully you hedged, don't get tricked. Up there with Moi Moi, Fui Moi Moi, what a name. That is a name. Or up there with blockers, Tino Fasuamui. Fasuamui is a good player. I do prefer Fasua Malawi, but blockers Fasuamui is pretty good as well. Dane Gagai loses the ball. That's going to be classed as a knock-on. It's going to be Dogs' ball at the 25, 0 tackle. All right, Doggies' ball. No, they said it was backwards, and then Dogs picked it up. Okay, so... Well, Dogs have got the ball. Anari Tuala at the 30 on second tackle. 11 minutes to go. They go to the right-hand side. Jacob Preston, he'll bring this ball to the 45 on second tackle. So it was 0. There's a second tackle now for the Dogs at the 45. 10 minutes to go of the game here, folks. Hit that like button and subscribe. We've got Panthers Eels after this and Cowboys versus Storm later on. But right now, it's only 8 points of difference, and the Dogs with the ball. They give it out to Sean O'Sullivan, who'll be at the 33 on fourth tackle. Still only 8 points. They give it Bailey Hayward off to Stephen Crichton. Crichton at the backhand to Con Tracy. Intercept by Dom Young. And I think that's going to be the game, folks. That's going to be the game as Dom Young is just going to run away for a hat trick here. The intercept from Dom Young. It's not game over yet. Shouldn't get too crazy just yet. But I think the Doggies have lost this game. And this is a fantastic performance here from Newcastle. Dom Young will get his hat trick. And... that is spectacular stuff. Does anyone in our Supercoach League actually have Dom Young? I actually don't think that he was picked up here in our Supercoach Draft League. Which people will spew about. People will spew about that. Someone played Trey Mooney. That's hilarious. Yeah, Dom Young has not been picked off on our Supercoach League. And someone will definitely pick him up this week. Move on, guys, move on. Yeah, don't know about moving on here, Daz, mate. You're not beating the allegations. If they get this kick, it's game over. If they don't get this kick, it's still game on. Bulldogs fraud alert. Oh, I'm thinking about a cheeky little fraud alert over here, doggy, woof, woof. I'm thinking about it. Very cheeky. I'm thinking about a potential fraud alert going up on a doggies there. The Knights have been incredible so far. They have been really good in this game. Sports Live said Bulldogs fraud alert. Knights have been incredible. Daz reaching for the stars, trying to grab Dom Young's shreds. Mitchell says, imagine losing in round 4 of 2026. I just couldn't relate. Yeah, neither, mate. The Titans haven't lost either. Yeah. Sano says that's so frustrating to watch. I'm probably going to do it, lads. I'm probably going to have to do it here, doggies. I think I'm going to have to do it here, doggy woof woofs. Your attack is just not attacking. Hold on. Do I still have the photo? Do I still have the old photo? So the Knights, they're going for the conversion. I need to go and download it again. 8 minutes and 51 seconds to go here. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I've just seen it again. And Sanders Smith will miss a kick, so it is still a 12-point game. It's actually still on here with the Dogs. It is still on. This is how we fraud alert when we all know this is our attack. You know exactly damn well right why you are fraud alert right now. But it's only an alert. It's not a confirmed. But also, currently, it's still only 12 points. You still could come back in this game. You still could come back in this game, mate. So don't give up hope just yet. But what I will do is I'm going to hurt your feelings for a couple of moments until proven otherwise. Until proven otherwise, you are on fraud alert. You are massively fraud alert. Fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert. You are there, Daz. The old doggies. You are smack bang fraud alert until proven otherwise. You're on it. Okay, the Bulldogs with the ball. They actually get the short kickoff, so if you win this game, you're off fraud alert, but for the time being, 15 metres away, third tackle, you've got to win to do it. They go out to the right, off to Sullivan, then to Matt Burton. Burton then gets it across, quick passing, and Ari Tuala, 8 metres away from the line, fourth tackle, 8 minutes to go here of the game. Bailey Hayward, he'll go across to Lachlan Galvin. And then he gets it out to Stephen Crichton to Viliami kick out. Villy steps inside. Villy's still going off to Crichton. Crichton quick passing. Galvin goes across again. Con Tracy. Tracy's still going here. 10 metres away. He steps. He pushes off one. He's still going. He's 5 metres out of the line. Fit tackle. Can you score right now here, Dogs? Bailey Hayward off to Stephen Crichton. He'll pass the ball over the top. I think this might be a try. I think this may be a try. They're going to give the try. I think this comes off of a header of play. So it's 28 points to 12. 28 points to 16. No, sorry, 24 points to 16 with the kick to come. They have to get this kick. They have to get this kick. Jasmine says, I'm going to take the biggest shit. I'm going to see it, see us tomorrow. Are you going to see us? You're in goal. Yeah, that's come off of the head there of Matt Burton. And just bounced awkwardly there. And Jacob Kiraz will put that ball down. And yeah, that is a try. Yeah, that is just a falcon off of Burton and luckily falls for Jacob Kiraz. It is a try. It is a try. And they might actually have a look here to see this high contact on Jacob Kiraz as well. They may look at that. They may. But you can't call it a forward pass though, Kevin Walters. Oh, yeah, he puts that ball down. It's fine. He's got enough on it. 6.5 minutes left here. You need to get this kick here from the sideline, though. If you win this game, you will go off a fraud alert. I'm just putting that out there. If you win this game. And now, does Matt Burton get the try assist for Supercoach? Surely not. Surely not. Bretzy says 4 passes don't apply to the Doggies. Not today, they don't. Especially not that first try for them. I think it was their first try, yeah. And Crichton will miss the kick, so it stays 8 points the difference. 8 points is still the gap. You need to score twice with 6 minutes left on the clock. Touch judge strikes once again. Touch judges don't exist here, champion. Touch judges do not exist in the Sport of Rugby League. They do not exist. Birdo 4 2-point field goals. We're on it. Elijah says, I hate the Bulldogs, up the Knights. All right. 24-16. 8 points, 6 minutes. Fletcher Hunt's lucky that wasn't another penalty, though. He is lucky. All right. The Bulldogs will receive this ball to 3. You've got to pretty much score on in the next 4 minutes. You would have to score in the next 4 minutes to be able to with a chance. And Burton can kick a 2-pointer field goal. Who's the Muppet that said 24-16 Dogs? I'm timing you out. Come forward. So the Dogs will get this ball to the 33. Most points by the Dogs this year, by the way. Yeah, this is. And it will be their first loss at the moment. Someone check on old mate who chucked 1 count of the Dogs. Yeah, he would be. Well, he said he hedged. Out to the right-hand side of Galvin, and Galvin's going to be at the 40 now. He's not had a good game, the old Lockie Galvin. Bailey Hayward to the right, and Sean O'Sullivan. He'll whack that ball up into the corner, but you need to make it more competitive for your team to chase it through. You have to take the risk. You can't just kick the ball back to them at this point. That just means they have to score less and they'll win. Again, Dogs typically win if they can score above 20, they will typically win. But if they don't score above 20, if they concede more than 20, typically they lose. Which isn't a thing that you would normally say for a lot of teams. But they just never score 20. They haven't scored 20 points at all this season so far. And this is clearly the highest amount of points they've given up. Fourth tackle now for the Knights at the 23. Crossland now goes right-hand side onto Fletcher Sharp, and Sharp will get slapped back at the 25. 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go here. Fifth tackle. You really do need to be looking at a try on this set here. That's not a great kick there from the Knights, and the Bulldogs will get this ball at the 30. Now to the 35, the 40 through Connor Tracy. First tackle. Come on, Dogs, sneak one here. Well, if you sneak one here, it's going to be a belter of the last couple of minutes to finish off the game. We know Burton can kick it from 40 metres out. Bailey Hayward to Jacob Kiraz, and Kiraz will be at the 22. Gets the offload away. Bailey Hayward, they're away here. Sean O'Sullivan at the 30, and it's third tackle for the Dogs. I will say that if you got a penalty, you would actually consider taking a 2 at this point. No, I won't lie. Galvin, he'll be 20, 17, 15 metres out of the line, fourth tackle. Bailey Hayward off to Sean O'Sullivan. Sean O'Sullivan, short ball to the line. Max King. Max King is 5 metres out. Very important try you would need right now. Bailey Hayward. Sean O'Sullivan, he kicks it. That's awful there. That's awful from Sean O'Sullivan. That is just dribble from Sean O'Sullivan. Not only do you go short side where there was nothing on, but then you put in one of the worst kicks you'll ever see in your life. Yeah, I don't know home in the NRL. That was so bad from Sean O'Sullivan. So second tackle. Now third tackle here for Dane Gagai at the 15. That'll be third tackle. Chuck up scam at this point. Fourth tackle at 25. This Dogs attack is honestly dribble, man. They've scored 1 try from a 4 pass today. You can make an argument for 2 tries off a 4 pass today. One was definite in the first one. The recent one, potentially, but also was a deflection off of the head of Matt Burton for the try. And that's what the Dogs attack has been so far. So this is really, really frustrating for a Dogs fan. Penalty, Dogs. You got to be quick. You got to be quick. You got 2 minutes 20 to score 8 points. Take the tap, Lachlan Calvin. Do something. Somebody kick the ball. Do something. Oh, the Dogs players aren't getting back on side quick enough. It's on them. All right, so it's Dogs ball at the 50. You have to score twice in 2 minutes and 5 seconds here. They go out to Max King, and Max King will be at the 45. First tackle. Don't forget, in 25 minutes time will be live for Panthers versus the Eels. Sitili Tupanua. He'll be at the 35. Second tackle. You have to score now. They go to Sean O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan off to Max King. And Max King is 28 also metres away. Third tackle. This is the be-all and end-all. Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin goes at himself. Fourth tackle at the 28 or the 18. Nothing really going on there at all. Fourth tackle. Bailey Hayward. He'll go out to Sean O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan at the back down to Crichton. Crichton goes off to Viliami Kickout. Viliami Kickout slips over, and it's going to be fifth tackle 10 metres away. You have to score on this play. Just as simple as that. They go out to Sean O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan to Galvin. Galvin kicks his ball through, and that is going to be a dropout, but that probably shouldn't matter. That probably should be the game. A dropout, they can waste a good 40 seconds, and Fletcher Sharp is... Oh no, he's grabbing at his left knee. Just back from that PCL injury, and he's grabbing at his left knee, which is bandaged, and he's punching the ground. This could be another injury here for Fletcher Sharp. God bless him. He's in all sorts of trouble right now with that left knee. Oh, yikes. And it is completely bandaged up. All right, 44 seconds. Honestly, you nearly take a 2-pointer here. 2-point field goal off of the bounce. They get off to Tupanua at the 42. Yeah, well, at this point, if you score, you're not taking the conversion. There's 30 seconds left here, and you're down by 8. Lachlan Galvin, he gives it to Jacob Preston, and Jacob Preston's going to get the offload away to Bailey Hayward, then off to Sean O'Sullivan, to Tupanua. 19 seconds left here. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible here. Bailey Hayward back to Sean O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, Max King, Lachlan Galvin kicks the ball into the corner here, and that is the game for the Newcastle Knights. You will get a massive upset victory here. We've seen 2 huge upsets in these last 2 games, or last 3 games, with the Knights taken down the Bulldogs at Accor Stadium 24-16. We saw yesterday the Tigers take down the Warriors in New Zealand 32-14. And we're just at the start of today. We've got another couple of big games with two hefty upsets potentials in the Eels and the Cowboys. Maybe this is upset central this round. But well done to the Newcastle Knights. That is a huge win for you. You win the game by 8 points there. You will go from 8th position to 6 points. You'll be on plus 12. You will be in 4th place right now. You are currently in 4th place as we speak. Now, the Storm probably go back above you, but you jump the Bulldogs. So the Knights are going to be in 4th. The Rabbitohs will drop down to 5th. The Bulldogs, they're probably going to be in 7th or 8th by the end of this round. Maybe 8th. Unless the Eels win. If the Eels win, they're not going to. They're not going to win by enough. But still, the Bulldogs are probably going to drop down to about 7, 8. And the Knights have dropped into the top 4. Good on you, Newcastle. That's a great upset result there. And this rugby league season, it's looking unpredictable as all hell, and the only thing that's predictable right now is the Titans winning every game for the rest of the season. But all right, guys, I will see you in 20 minutes' time for the next game of the day, which is the Panthers versus the Eels. The Bulldogs, you are on fraud left for the time being. You're going to drop down a little bit. Obviously, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you in 20 minutes' time for the next game. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.